As we are awaiting to hear our name called, as it were.
We're waiting in the green room.
We're waiting in the green room. There you go. Mavericks are on the clock. I'm guessing the NBA told them to take the whole 5 minutes.
Well, I don't know. You never know with Nico Harrison. You know he does like to do things a little differently.
That's true.
So. I think I'm going to hop onto the show account and fire out a link for our loyal listeners here.
Yeah, of course. Do you know, Brandon, the last time that Mavericks had the first pick in the NBA draft? Do you know what year that was?
I don't know what year. Was it the Jason Kidd draft?
No, so Jason Kidd was number 2 overall.
Okay.
That year was 94. First pick that year was Glenn Big Dog Robinson by the Milwaukee Bucks.
Was it somebody with a really was it Tractor Trailer?
No, it was Glenn Robinson.
No.
Big Dog.
That was the last time they had the number 1 pick.
Oh no. The last time they had the number 1 pick was 1981.
Ooh.
And it was a gentleman by the name of Mark Aguirre.
Oh, okay. The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. That's going to be my contribution to this broadcast. Is I'm just going to give historical facts because I know none of these players except for Cooper Flagg. Basically.
Well,
so let's see
they waved the white flag, Paul.
Waved the white flag?
They did.
I did read something today that apparently Kyrie Irving declined his player option.
Yeah, he signed. Like I think he took like a lower amount next year because he's probably going to be out with the
the injury,
Achilles recovery, and so he took a lower amount to kind of take that the next 2 years.
All right, so Cooper Flagg, number 1 overall.
How do you feel about this, Paul? I know it was probably heartbreaking when they traded away, but for some reason the miraculous ping pong balls would somehow seem to be miraculous more often than not.
I was gonna ask you if you may not remember this either, but 40 years ago in the 1985 NBA draft, I was a mere 1 year old when that happened. Do you remember who had the first pick in that draft? What team had the first pick?
I'm not good at multitasking.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Well, 1985.
Okay.
What do you remember? What team had the first pick in that draft?
I was about to be conceived. So let me try to think.
Okay.
Let me try to think back.
That's good for you.
At that time in my life, I do not know.
It was the New York Knicks, and they ended up selecting Patrick Ewing. That was the infamous frozen envelope or whatever it was called.
I do know the Ewing story, but like I guess the year, I have no. I don't remember. I never remember what year it is for that.
And then 30 years ago, so 1995, the first pick overall was the Golden State Warriors, and they selected Joe Smith, who had a nice little career. Not necessarily with the Warriors, but he had a good career. And the Mavericks that year, I think they had the number 11th pick, and they actually picked a Duke player by the name of Cherokee Parks. Do you remember Cherokee Parks?
No, I think I've gone camping there.
Yeah. They tried to draft Jim Recreation, but they couldn't get that done.
They missed out on Iroquois, Mr. Iroquois. So I apologize to anybody watching. I am. There was a car accident on my drive home.
In Houston? No.
Oh, I know. What a shocker. So it took me almost 2 hours to get home this evening, and so I was so irritated that I was like, I'm just gonna go get something because I don't feel like eating what we have at home. So I've got a
Yeah.
some McDonald's over here.
There you go. See if we got anybody in the chat joining us here.
So you talked about So I mentioned Jason Kidd. You know what Jason Kidd said after he was drafted, right?
Why don't you? No, what did he say?
He said, "We're going to turn this team around 360 degrees."
That's a 180, Jason. That's a 180, Jason.
That's a Yogi Berra.
Hey, can you hear this? Hang on, can you hear this? Did you hear that?
All I can hear right now is my TV broadcast.
Okay. I'm guessing it'll just add it. I added some like a soundboard, like a couple clips, but I'm guessing it'll just add it in post. Like it'll is my
post production. Try it again real quick. I've just muted my TV.
All right, hang on. Nope, nothing.
Nothing.
Oh wait.
They fooled me, Jerry.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. Maybe if I press the right button. Okay, let me try that one more time. Did you hear that? No.
Nothing. I did not.
I didn't hear it either that time. All right. Well. Oh well. Live and learn.
If you're watching along and you hear anything, please let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Well, no, I heard it when I was.
So Cooper Flagg, it appears he'll be wearing number 32.
Okay, I'm trying to think who are the famous 32s in Mavericks history.
Shaq 32 in
Orlando? When he first started in Orlando. When he went to the Lakers, he couldn't wear 32 because of Magic, obviously, Magic Johnson. So he switched to 34. He actually did a bit about this on Inside the NBA. They made a game out of it where they're like, "What number did you wear?" And he would go into the reasons of why. Because I think with
because at the end he was just kind of like bouncing around everywhere, right?
Well, I think in Cleveland he wore 36, and then when he was with the Suns, he was 30. Might have been 34 with the Suns. No, because Barkley was 34. He couldn't have been 34. Although knowing Shaq, he would have tried to get Barkley's number just for that reason.
Just to spite him. Dylan
just
Harper.
To spite it. Dylan Harper.
I don't think this is.
Oh, to the Spurs.
I think this is kind of another par for the course. I think.
Okay, so
he was expected to be number 2.
I wonder if he's related to Derek Harper or Ron Harper or any of the other famous Harpers that have played.
Bryce Harper.
I'm guessing no on Bryce Harper. Just a thought.
Distant cousin. Could be a distant cousin.
That's like you and Zeke. It's like me and Zeke Elliott, or you and James Conner.
Conner. I actually knew. So there. I think she actually works at ABC now, like the local Houston station. But I went to college with the girl who was Brianna Conner. I actually had a class with her.
Okay.
Really nice. She was in my. We took music of African Americans together.
Oh, interesting.
That was a good class. I had a lot of fun in that class.
I'd imagine that would be.
I took that in a blues music class as well when I was in college.
So, did you learn about the blues, jazz?
Yeah, so we started
R&B?
way back at like spirituals and that sort of music. We went all the way back, and then kind of worked through, and then we had to write it our end of term paper had to be we had to pick an album and then kind of talk about the elements from each era that we had learned about and how those were incorporated.
Learned about
songs. So the album that I wrote my that I wrote my paper on.
I can't wait to hear this.
Was Chocolate Factory by Mr. R. Kelly.
For some reason, I thought of this is terrible. For some reason, I thought of Limp Bizkit had an album that was like, was it Hot Dog Water or something? Like, it was like chocolate starfish hot dog water or something.
Oh yes.
And I was like, yes, I don't know why.
It was not Limp Bizkit. I did not write my.
Yeah. Well, no, that's immediately that's what I thought of. I'm like, why the hell would you do a?
No, so I did. I did a Kelly paper.
I got to take a class. This is at UT that you did this.
It was.
Okay, so I got to take a class at SFA that was like history of rock and roll. That was pretty cool. And then like, because obviously I was in band, throughout. Oh, by the way, a quick sidebar. Have you noticed that they are now calling, like, the position they're now giving some of these guys is wing? It's not forward anymore. Well, some of them are forward.
Because a wing is kind of like a 2-3. It's a 2 or 3, right? And so like some.
Well, can't they just do? More... Why don't they just do G/F like they used to? Well, what's the?
Because then you're.
Oh.
I don't know, because then it's more.
They just showed Ron Harper, Dylan Harper's dad. It was Ron Harper, the NBA legend Ron Harper.
Oh, see,
there you go.
I can't believe Bryce Harper's not there.
I think he's busy.
Bryce Harper's actually in Houston right now.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the Phillies are in town. They lost. The Astros won last night, 1-0 on a 8th inning home run. I want to say from.
My coworker is at that game. She used to work in Philadelphia. So I taught my last teaching job before I went to the corporate world. One of the ladies I taught with was a tour guide at what used to be Minute Maid. Now it's Dalkin or whatever it's called. Yeah, whatever. Sounds like a vegetable.
Right. Vile weed. Speaking of the Astros, let's see.
Broccoli if it was deep fried in chocolate sauce.
Oh, it's bottom of the first. Astros are at bat, looks like here. Jeremy Pena leading off for the Astros tonight. I wonder if they gave out. No, Altuve's in the third spot. It's weird. I haven't been paying attention to the Astros that much, but I didn't realize Pena was leading off now. So I was listening to Bill Simmons' podcast, and he had Chris Mannix on today, or I guess yesterday, just trying to get a sense of the draft. And I think they said number 3 is where the Ace Bailey discussion begins, because Ace Bailey's like a big.
There's been a lot of Ace Bailey discussion.
So I've heard some of this. So apparently he didn't take visits with any of the teams except for like New Orleans and.
He's cut off kind of like his workouts for teams, and he's been. It seems like he's getting some bad advice from people. I think he's trying to control. The sense that I got from the limited that I picked up on this was that he's kind of trying to control where he can go. He wants to go somewhere where he can be the guy.
Yeah.
Kind of be like the lead, the main scorer or whatever.
Yeah, well, we should mention the Brooklyn Nets have like 5 first-round picks because they traded because of their most recent trade. Excuse me, was that the Porzingis trade where they got the rest of those picks, or were they like the third? There was I forget what trade it was that got them all those picks.
They traded so many of their players over because remember they had Harden. They had KD and they had Kyrie.
Yeah, let's real quick while we're waiting for the next pick. What are your feelings on Longhorn legend Kevin Durant coming to Houston?
I mean, good luck with that, Houston. It hasn't really worked out for anybody else that's kind of like tried to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of Jalen Green? Because that was kind of the big piece in that trade, right?
He went to Phoenix, right? He was the okay. I haven't watched. I don't watch a lot of Rockets, to be honest. The little bit I did watch when they played the Warriors in the first round, Green definitely stood out as like, oh yeah, he's good, but I don't know. Well, picks in here. Let's see what we got.
VJ Edgecombe.
Oh, you're ahead of me again. Oh, a local kid from Baylor. Not too far from where we are located currently.
I guess in the international scene he would be Buddy Hield's teammate. He's from the Bahamas.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
So
where's Buddy Hield?
I did wear some
Buddy Hield's with
related gear today.
There you go.
The Grizzlies actually have a pick today because of their recent trade with Orlando.
Right, with the Desmond Bain trade, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if
we kind of put the kibosh on my Twitter name.
Oh yeah. What will you do?
I gotta find another pun.
You gotta please be sensitive to Brandon in this time in his time of need.
Kentavious Caldwell, Chicago Pope.
Sounds like a winner to me. Sounds like
Kentavious Chicago Pope. Something like that. I'm workshopping some things right now.
Didn't our guy Uncle Lee? Didn't our guy Pope Leo? Didn't he wear like a White Sox hat or something? I saw the other day. He was doing something. Well, I know he had his some sermon that he gave broadcast at White Sox Stadium. Okay, so that's probably what it was.
My Twitter name. So Bane and Chiad were actually were characters in two different characters in the Wheel of Time series.
Okay.
So they're Bane. They're both like warriors from this like desert warrior tribe of people called the Aiel. And so I think Bane in the books is actually Bain instead of Bane, but Desmond Bane and Chiad. Just kind of, I get comments from that on from a lot of Wheel of Time fans who are basketball fans, which is a very niche market.
I was gonna say that. That's a very narrow.
The Venn diagram is very, very narrow. It's like a line.
But shout out to all those good folks out there. So what are we up to? We're up to number 4 here, the Charlotte Hornets, the new iteration of the Charlotte Hornets.
I think the leader in the clubhouse to go here is Con Canuple.
Another Duke player, right?
Yes, I think so. His name is not Con Canuple.
Is it Constantinople?
Timbuktu.
Timbuktu. So I had a whole gimmick I was going to do. Like, hey, here's who the number 4 pick was 30 years ago or whatever.
We should name our favorite players from each of these teams as they draft.
I mean, I don't watch as much, but like old school Charlotte Hornets.
I think we can do all time. So
let me ask this. Does this Charlotte Hornets franchise keep the original Charlotte Hornets? Like,
I used to know the answer to this, and I can't remember.
Because the original Charlotte to New Orleans, right? And then they became the Pelicans, And then this team, it was a Cleveland Browns type situation where like they moved, and then the Bobcats, right? They were the Bobcats at first because the Pelicans hadn't changed their name yet.
One of the worst franchise names, really bad jerseys, and then to go along with that, they were also just absolutely terrible.
So let's see here. All right, so this iteration of the Charlotte Hornets began in 2015, and it looks like, so it looks like they retained the Bobcats and then all the way up to before they moved to New Orleans. So the Pelicans get from when they moved to New Orleans forward, but then Charlotte keeps everything before that, it looks like, in terms of. So to answer your question, my favorite Hornet of all time was probably either Larry Johnson or Glenn Rice. Yeah, he was. Come on, Grandmama. You remember Grandmama? He was on Family Matters, for God's sakes.
So my favorite Charlotte Hornet would be Courtney Lee.
I was going to say DJ Augustine because he's a Longhorn. Wasn't he a Hornet? Was he a Hornet? He was a Pacer. I know that. Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
He moved around. I know he was a Pacer for sure, but I thought he was a
I remember, wasn't he a Cav? And what do we call a player who played for the Magic? Do we call him a Magic? Was he a Magic?
He was a Wizard. Well, no, you can't say Wizard because that would be.
Was he a magician?
Okay, so DJ Augustine was drafted by the Charlotte Bobcats.
Okay.
Oh, DJ Augustine went to high school in New Orleans. I did not know that.
Oh.
I think he might have been. Oh, he might have been a Katrina transfer. Because it says he went to Brother Martin, which is a predominant Catholic school in New Orleans, and then he went to Hightower in Missouri City, which is nearby to us. Yeah, first 4 years. So he didn't play for the Hornets; he played for the Bobcats. So he played in Charlotte, but
he played for the even crappier Charlotte franchise. Which
was he? Who was the Bobcat that Michael Jordan slapped upside the head on the sidelines at one time?
Was it the guy with was it Michael Kidd Gilchrist?
Might have been. It was somebody like he did like a dumb late game scenario. Like he did something dumb in a late game scenario and go over to the sideline. Jordan just smacks him upside the head.
Now I'm gonna have to look this up.
Another one of my favorite Charlotte Hornets back in the day was Anthony Mason, who's a former New York Knick as well. He was the first. Anthony Mason was the first like point forward. Do you remember when that term became popular? Like a power forward who could also like dribble and run an offense.
Like a stretch four, basically.
A stretch four, yeah. Anthony Mason was the first guy that I remember of that ilk. Like, I mean, I guess before. I mean, Bird was kind of like that back in the '80s, but he was more of a scorer. He wasn't like
not like a point forward.
Right.
So it was Malik Monk was the player.
That's it. Former Kentucky alum as well as Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
Yep, here's Con Knipple. He was apparently Con Knipple was like plus 900 to go in the 4 pick one day, and then like it moved up to like plus 250, and then it got to like minus 250 and like minus 300 at one point. So like this was kind of like a kind of expected outcome.
Yeah, I mean, so now the Ace Bailey watch, I guess, begins. There's been talk of teams maybe trading up. The Pelicans Bill Simmons mentioned Pelicans might actually be able to just stay put at 7, and they could maybe still get them if they want them. Pelicans have 2 first-round picks this year.
Wait,
for some reason, I don't. No, the Pelicans.
I know they just traded for the guy that Draymond Green slapped. or punched.
Well, that could be quite a list, honestly.
Well, I mean, in practice, his teammate.
Oh, okay. Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
I should know this because one of my best tweets was about that incident.
Didn't you get a lot of traction on that one? Like a lot of.
I did. Let me see if I can find it. Do I still have it on here?
I will say so obviously being a Saints fan, I have a lot of Pelicans fans on my timeline. A lot of them were upset about CJ McCollum being traded. A lot of people like CJ McCollum in New Orleans. So for what that's worth.
So all I said was I made like a fake screenshot of an Athletic article, and I said, "Wow, great reporting from the Athletic on the Warriors situation." And I wrote, according to sources, Poole began telling teammates of his plan to use his lucrative new extension to install a pool at his house. I'll call it the Jordan Pool because it's going to be the GOAT, Poole allegedly said. Everyone can come swim in my Jordan Pool as soon as I get paid. Teammates soon tired of the joke, however, when he refused to stop telling it. When Green eventually suggested Poole find some new material, Poole said, "If you keep talking like that, you won't be allowed in my Jordan Pool." This statement then prompted Green to close his eyes and start swinging, witnesses say.
I do remember that. All right, up on the clock now is the Utah Jazz. Worst luck in the NBA. Had the worst record, end up with the 5th pick.
Well, when the Mavericks, traded their superstar to the Lakers and did them a solid, let's
be honest. Cooper Flagg would have probably fit pretty well in Utah.
Yep.
Colin
Knuppel would have fit pretty well in Utah.
Colin Knuppel would have fit, yeah.
It looks like they got them all standing. They look like Wi-Fi bars over here.
Well, that's our show, folks. We can't. We're not gonna be able to top that one. I was gonna say they look like the Righteous Gemstones, but you went with Wi-Fi bars. That was.
Well, they're like standing in front of the.
No. I get it. You think mom and dad were?
I don't have a joke that good and too often.
Did you take a screen? You should have took a screenshot and
I took a picture with my phone. Now I got to figure out how do you spell Knuppel? Knue.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, hang on. I'll help you. I'll be of help here. Hold on. Where are we at? Yeah, Knueppel. By the way, real quick, the Mavericks had the first pick in the draft, and they don't have any more picks, for what it's worth.
So they're done for tonight.
They are done, and for tomorrow night too.
I did see the Grizzlies. Somebody came on the Jessica Benson show today and talked about like some guys that he kind of liked for the Grizzlies. I can't remember all of them, so I'm being very useful here. There was one guy named Coward. I do remember that.
Who's this?
Some guy named Coward, like a scaredy cat. Like that's his name, last name.
Not Colin Coward.
Not Cowherd. like the Cowardly Lion.
Somebody had to have made that joke before it. I mean that one's just waiting for you.
So the Rangers just gave up their first hit of the game tonight in the bottom of the 8th.
Oh, that's. I thought you were going to say at the bottom of the first. That'd be a great. No. Listen, that's the kind of stuff that I love when somebody's like, "Man, just gave up their first hit of the night." Oh yeah, what inning is it? The first.
Well, there is. I want to say it's the Nationals. They're like radio or TV guy. Like anytime whenever I can't remember if it was the Nationals pitcher or the opponent, but like whenever someone would give up the first hit, no matter what time of the game it was, he would always say, "Well, there goes the no hitter."
Right.
Like just
Right.
like every game, like that was just a gag, and so it's kind of
Well,
funny. So that's what I think.
well,
of
the old superstition is you're not supposed to mention it, right? Like if
that's
they
why I
have
didn't
no
bring it up while because I was watching. I
Okay.
was like, I'm not bringing this up.
What can you tell me about Trey Johnson, guard from Texas? Anything?
Well, he helped guide the Longhorns to the tournament. We did make the play-in.
Okay.
We didn't win the play-in game, but we were there. And
there you
go. That's about all I can tell you.
Who? I should know this. Who's the basketball coach at UT?
Well, they just hired Sean Miller.
Ooh, from Arizona.
Yep.
Okay. Who was it? Was it? Oh, sorry.
Ace Bailey.
Ooh, to Utah. Okay. Now we have seen in the.
So Rutgers just had 2 top 5 picks.
Yeah.
And they stunk this year. So make of that what you will. I don't know. Do you put it on coaching?
So what you're telling me? What you're telling me is, who's the Rutgers? Who? Oh, hang on. I'm going to answer my own question here. Hopefully. Chris Mullen went to St. John's, right? He didn't go to Rutgers.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's like the Rutgers like basketball legend? I feel like there's let me see here. If I can find.
I'm trying to pull up my ratings to see.
Yeah, you're right. Rutgers was 15-17 this past year. See if I can find. They are coached currently by Steve Bickel.
Yes. Yeah, so I had Rutgers rated 82nd in my my.
Oh right, yeah, you have your
ratings.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at leaders here. Okay, so where's points? Oh, they put them alphabetically. That makes sense, I guess.
Go ahead.
The leading scorer in Rutgers, well, I guess for a season, from a points perspective, is Quincy Doby.
Is he a member of the Doobie Brothers?
I don't believe so. But I don't recognize.
It wasn't Ray Rice, was it?
That woof. What? Wait, was it? No, Jameer Nelson went to St. John's too. Oh, everybody I think went to Rutgers, went to St. John's.
Is it because of the red and they were?
Maybe that's what it was.
Were they also in the? Was Rutgers in the Big East too?
Yeah. Okay. Once upon a time there were.
That's where the problem is.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So the Rangers just gave up their first hit in the bottom of the 8th tonight, and last night they didn't give up their first hit until the bottom of the 7th. So they had no hitters going into the 7th and 8th innings the last 2 nights.
Did they win last night?
They did, but they tried to give it away. They had somebody come in and immediately gave up two home runs to tie it. So, but they ended up coming back to win.
So Rutgers' best finish, I guess, as a team was in 1975-76. They went to the national semifinal, lost 86-70 to Michigan. Their leading scorer in that game was a gentleman by the name of Eddie Jordan, not Michael Jordan.
I thought you were going to say Eddie George.
No. They lost to Michigan in that game, and Michigan would go on to lose to Indiana in the final. Was this the undefeated Indiana team? This might have been the undefeated Indiana team.
The Hoosiers team?
Yeah. This might have been. Let me see. I'm looking. Yeah, this is the undefeated 75-76. They went 32-0. Old Bobby Knight was their head coach, and future NBA head coach Quinn Buckner, who coached the Mavericks for a period. He was on that team. Okay, so then a commercial. I do have some non-basketball news I want to ask you about.
Okay.
You may not. I don't know if you heard this. The director for the next James Bond film was announced.
I did not hear that. So does that
It'll
mean
be?
Are they going to pick a Bond?
I guess I guess they're. I've heard a couple names, but I haven't nothing definitive yet. But the director will be Denis Villeneuve, who is the director of the Dune movies.
Oh.
So, and it will be for Amazon. I'm guessing that still means they're going to put it in theaters. They're not going to go straight to streaming. But
well, Amazon bought MGM, which was
correct
the rights holder for the Bond movies.
So this was, I guess, Amazon's decision, or I guess in partnership with the Broccoli family. Who
the Broccoli family?
Yeah, the family that kind of
Broccoli family.
Yeah, it was Newman's favorite. No, the family that has owned the rights to James Bond for years.
Are they the descendants of the author, the original author?
I used to know all this. I can look up some info for you here, but yeah, they let's see. All right, so Barbara Broccoli. That's her name.
What a name!
65 years young. God bless her. So she's the daughter of a producer whose name was Albert Cubby Broccoli, and he had the rights to Bond. He purchased the rights. He was the producer for many of the James Bond films. I'm looking to see here.
Did I ever tell you my favorite Italian soccer player name?
No.
This is a real person, okay? I want you to bear that in mind. I didn't make this up. His name is Kevin Lasagna.
And he's an Italian soccer player?
Yes.
The
funny thing is that his first name is Kevin.
Of course. But he was born in Italy, or he just plays in Italy?
No, he was born in Italy. He is Italian.
Okay.
The Italian
Speaking of Kevin's, I guess I should let the folks know at home. I sent you this, but my wife for Father's Day got me a lovely gift. If anyone's familiar with the Cameo service, the way you can purchase a message from a celebrity, send to a loved one, she got me Brian Baumgartner, who played Kevin on The Office, to send me a very nice little message for Father's Day. So
I want to wish you a happy Father's Day. I really think you're doing a great job, and your wife wanted me to tell you that she thinks that you're a great dad. Something like that.
There you go. That was the audio. Yeah. Oh, we got a Longhorn off the board here, Brandon.
Oh, he's going to Washington. So there was.
Sorry, the way you said that, it was just like, oh, he's going to Washington.
So there was a rumor that as part of the Ace Bailey thing was that one of the teams he wanted to go to was the Wizards.
Okay.
And this one guy who he doesn't tweet very often anymore, but he used to run the SB Nation site for the Wizards, and he was always really funny. His name's Jake Whitaker, but he tweeted, he said. Okay. He said if a player is trying to go to the Wizards on purpose, and then he put a bunch of red flag emojis. and so that's about where that came from.
Well, Trey Johnson will get to play with C.J. McCollum now.
Oh, yeah.
Because C.J. McCollum is now, well, for the moment. I mean, you know how the NBA works. You get traded 1 minute doesn't mean you're going to stay there.
Yeah.
Always possibility.
This is my label maker. Oh, the Wizards. That's my.
Oh, the Wizards.
The Wizards. If he says the name of the team he gets drafted to, he hates it. Oh, Tube Socks.
It's okay, not bad. I gotta get out. What is your boy wearing? It looks like he's got his prep school outfit on there.
That's a good question.
Have you seen the movie Caddyshack?
A long time ago.
I need to rewatch it. It's there's a great when I can't remember Ted Knight. Ted Knight is the actor's name. He plays kind of the antagonist of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes into the pro shop and Rodney Dangerfield's in there cutting up, and he sees this hat and he goes, "Boy, you buy a hat like this, you get a free bowl of soup." And he turns around, and Ted Knight has that hat on, like he's wearing that hat. And Dangerfield goes, "Oh, but it looks good on you, though."
My wife started Severance this week.
Oh, okay.
So we got 2 episodes in.
So I should mention I saw Ben Stiller, famed New York Knicks fan, Ben Stiller, and creator of Severance. He sent out a tweet today that the folks at Severance are doing a 5-episode podcast this summer to discuss TV shows and films that have influenced the Severance. So I believe he and Adam Scott, I believe, are going to be hosting the show.
How about instead of that, we just work on the show, work on getting this.
Well,
show.
they're working on it. They're working on it. Wouldn't it be funny if, like, you're listening to the podcast in the background, you hear, "Okay, so in this episode, I think
mute.
right. Hey, Ben, are you sure you want to kill so and so in this episode?" Like,
I didn't realize that Trey Johnson was related to Ray Charles.
I was like, what's he gonna say? What's his? Careful.
I mean, the glasses are a dead ringer for the Ray Charles shades.
Yeah. I used to have a pair of I may still have them, but I think I misplaced them. I used to have a pair of prescription sunglasses, and they were the Ray Charles, like they were the Ray-Ban, like with that. So every time I'd wear them to go cut the grass or whatever, my wife would say, all right, Ray Charles. It was like a cross. It was like a cross between Ray Charles and the Blues Brothers glasses.
Oh,
like it was kind of like it was.
I will say Trey Johnson's dad was wearing a pretty nice suit that he had on.
Oh yeah, no, he looked sharp, man.
This green suit that she's got on is pretty nice too. I don't think I could pull that off, but it is a nice suit.
Yeah, I don't. Be a nice thing.
Do you remember the episode of The Office where Michael accidentally wore women's clothing?
Oh yeah. And didn't it like Roy and Daryl find out?
Yeah.
And like
he's like open the, what does it say? It says mysterious. Well, it is mysterious because the buttons are on the wrong side.
That's like when George bought ladies' frames at
Oh yeah.
Or no, well, they gave him ladies' frames.
Yeah, because he couldn't. Oh, because Elaine was too busy flirting or something.
No,
yeah.
Elaine got bit by the dog,
Oh,
and so she had
right.
to. Oh.
Your hometown team is on the clock.
Yeah, we have a visitor here. My cat decided to.
It says team needs what the Pelicans really need is for Zion Williamson to actually try.
Man, I mean, like, that's kind of the reason I don't really follow them. Like so it's tough because like the Mavericks and the Pelicans are in the same division, obviously. But like, yeah, the Zion,
as the Grizzlies,
as well as the Grizzlies and the Spurs and the Rockets, yeah. and I think I've told the story on the show before, but like when I was growing up, there was no team in New Orleans. The Jazz were long gone. The Hornets were still in Charlotte. And so I just had to pick a team, and I picked the Mavericks. And that was right around the time we talked earlier about Jason Kidd. That was right around the time they drafted Jason Kidd, and
they turned the team around 360 degrees.
Yep, 360 degrees all the way. But yeah, so like when New Orleans got a team, I for a split second was like, well, maybe I'll start rooting for them. And they were good when they first went to New Orleans. People might not remember, but like they had Chris Paul and David West and Tyson Chandler, Peja Stojakovic was there for a little bit. Like they had a really good team. They had
2 future Mavericks champions there.
They did absolutely. Oh, they also had you remember Morris Peterson, who's a left-handed small forward. All right, who's the pick here? What does he fear?
I don't know, but that makes me think. What if we get this guy in the room with Mr. Coward? We're gonna Fears and Coward. You're gonna have that'll be the Halloween game.
You're not gonna like Mr. Fears because he went to Oklahoma.
Mm. Well, the UT player went first, so that's all that really matters, isn't it?
There you go. First Oklahoma player drafted since Trae Young, who was drafted by the Mavericks, but then traded for Luka.
So I was going to say when we were talking about so Zion, the year that he was coming out, I remember seeing because you watched him at Duke and he was like unreal.
Yeah, no.
But the guy that I saw, they were talking about, they were doing like drafts analysis, and Chris Vernon mentioned Ja Morant, and so like I went out and he was like mentioned the name, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to go look up highlights. And as soon as I saw the highlights, it was like, I think I'd rather have Ja. And so like everybody kind of wanted like when the Grizzlies were like, this was like they were moving up, you could tell they were going to be high, and I was like, I would rather because what's happened with Zion is basically what I was most afraid of happening with Zion, is that he was just going to be like eat himself out of the league and not be healthy, and like his body wouldn't hold up exactly. So that's why not that Ja Morant's body has held up too much better, mind you. But
so you might know this better than I, but I know the Pelicans obviously just traded for Jordan Poole, and now they've drafted this Fears gentleman. Don't they kind of play the same position, or is Fears more of a true point and Poole's more of a 2 guard?
I think of Poole more of as like a combo 1-2 guard, a combo guard. I think. Okay,
this Fears they said is a scoring point guard, which to me that's Jordan Poole. Like and so I don't know. Listen. As long as to your point,
I have not watched a lot of.
Right.
I haven't watched a lot of Wizards basketball.
Fair enough. I thought you were going to say you haven't watched a lot of Oklahoma basketball, which I would believe that. Well, let me go look at my Twitter and see if all the Pelicans fans are in agreement with that pick.
Shooting guard and point guard. Yeah, so his basketball reference game has him more of as a shooting guard.
Okay, so this might work.
I mean, he averages 4.5 assists per game, so like I don't know how much.
Okay, so apparently Pelicans fans are pleased about.
So they like the pick.
They like the pick. Oh, somebody just retweeted one of my favorite. So back in the day when the draft was on TNT, they would have when the pick was made, they would put these like graphics up with the player's picture, name, and then strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
So back in '96, when Kobe Bryant was selected, his strengths were listed as natural scorer, work ethic. His weaknesses, passing and liking teammates.
Classic.
By the way,
He never
do
really
you remember?
worked on that weakness, did he?
No. Do you remember the team that originally drafted Kobe Bryant?
The Sixers.
Nope.
Hmm.
The Sixers had the number 1 pick in the draft that year, and they picked a guy named Allen Iverson that everybody hates now because all I see is like AI sucks and AI.
Well, apparently he's doing art now, so like
there you go.
Maybe he's doing all that work to get out of gambling debt.
I asked him to draft an email for me the other day. He kind of got mad.
Well, he helped me make the Pope Uncle Leo picture.
I came across that randomly the other day, and I got a good chuckle out of it. So, the Brooklyn Nets look excited.
So whenever you go to confession, does he say hello?
Father, hello.
Says, ciao.
Yeah.
Jerry. You should hold on to her like grim death, which isn't far away, mind you.
Which is not far off, by the way. So the Brooklyn Nets now have their first of like 20 picks in this draft.
They're going to have a whole new roster by the time we get done here.
Well, they need it, apparently. They
need that pretty regularly.
Who's the best? Who's the best player on the Nets right now? Cam Johnson? I know that name. I don't know if that's
maybe.
My favorite New Jersey Net was Derek Coleman and Kenny Anderson. Those are 2 pretty good New Jersey Nets.
Nets stands for never-ending tank situation.
Apparently. Let's see. I'm looking. Brooklyn Nets. There we go. So, this past season, who was their leading scorer? Oh, D'Angelo Russell was on their team. I know that name. Let's see. Points per game. Cam Thomas. So there's 2 Cams. They have Cam Thomas and Cameron Johnson, excuse me. They also have Dennis Schroeder, or they had Dennis Schroeder for a time. I don't know if he's still on the team. That's about all I got for you. Oh, and now they're going to have another pick here. Another player.
Igor.
Stravinsky?
No, it's actually Igor. Which is funny because I just saw that they're actually releasing it. They're working on a comedy series based on Mel Brooks' classic Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Yeah, that's some. And then there are also Spaceballs 2 is coming to theaters next year.
The Nets are drafting a Russian. Didn't they have like a Russian oligarch owner at one point?
Yeah, I think they. Ooh. So, what's his Damon? Demeen is his last name? Demon?
Demeen Moore?
It's not Sami Tractor Trailer. That's one of my. Anytime I try to pronounce Demi Moore's name, I think of that exchange from Seinfeld.
Absolutely.
Like, without a doubt. Sometimes George made a good point every once in a while.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
How do you feel about peeing in the shower?
It's all pipes.
It's
What's
all
the
pipes. Different pipes go to different places. You're gonna get them mixed up. I don't know how real that.
Okay, so after I had watched the series all the way through, you know how it is. Like you want to go watch certain episodes because of certain parts. It took me forever to figure out what episode that is from. And it's the wife episode in season 5, the one with Courtney Cox. Because obviously they have nothing to do with like the plot, that plot and George, they have nothing to do with each other. So I had to finally
just wanted to know that you have a friend who pees in the shower.
Right, exactly. Oh, there you go. BYU drafted in the top 10. Sean Bradley. Remember Sean Bradley back in the day?
Yeah, tall for nothing.
He once hit Charles Barkley in the nether region on a dunk attempt.
I remember watching Sean Bradley and just being like, this guy is the most useless. Like you could just move him there was no mass.
He's what we call big for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I said. We call him tall for nothing.
Yeah. Tall for nothing, big for nothing. Yeah, whatever. Oh, here's something. I just was reminded. Toronto Raptors are on the board here, on the clock here. I believe 30 years ago, the 1995 draft was the first draft for the Toronto Raptors and your beloved. They were then Vancouver Grizzlies, but now obviously Memphis Grizzlies. I'm pretty sure it was the 95 draft. Do you remember who the first round pick in the history of the Toronto Raptors was?
Stevie Franchise?
No,
that was too late, wasn't it?
That was much later. It was a point guard. It was a left-handed point guard. Young man by the name of Damon Stoudemire. And then do you remember who the Grizzlies' first round pick was in franchise history?
I should know this.
Oklahoma State center.
Was he white?
Yeah.
Big country.
Bryant Reeves.
That was my first guess, but then I was like, because the other like they're like famous like Vancouver guys was I'm going to butcher his name. Amir
Stromile Swift.
No. Whoa. Did
I hit a nerve? I'm sorry.
No, Stromile Swift. No, what's his name?
LSU legend Stromile Swift. Thank you.
Shabdul Raif.
Oh, Shamir Abdul Rahim.
Rahim. Okay, I get all
Shamir Abdul Rahim.
I get all the syllables mixed up with his name.
I understand. I remember that draft. He was like third. That was the next year. I want to say 96 because it was Iverson. I forget who went number 2.
So who was you never closed out on who drafted Kobe?
Oh, sorry, it was the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay.
And they traded him to the Lakers for Vlade Divac.
That one worked out, huh?
Oh yeah, worked out for everybody. All right, let me make sure I'm correct here on my Grizzlies draft history. Let's go 90. Yep, 95.
Speed, I will walk out of this room, Paul.
Okay, so here were the first 5 first-round picks for the Grizzlies. So Big Country in 95, Sharif Abdul-Rahim in 96, 97, it was Antonio Daniels from Bowling Green, point guard. 98, it was Mike Bibby. And then in 99, it was Franchise, Stevie Franchise. And then 2000, and then 2000, that's when they went Stromile Swift. Yeah. They drafted Kevin Love and then traded him? I don't remember that. Did not remember that. It's hard, man, with the NBA. Like in the NFL, if first round picks get traded like that, you know about it because it never happens, right? You never it's stuff like Eli Manning doesn't want to play for the Chargers, so they're going to draft him and trade him to, you know. But like in the NBA, man, it's just like it's wheeling and dealing. Just what do you remember? What do you remember about 2016 first round pick Wade Baldwin?
Oh, I remember being extremely excited about Wade Baldwin
from Vanderbilt, no less.
Yeah, he was a very long, hopefully very long point guard that we thought had a lot of defensive potential too, but who lacked the maturity to actually turn himself into anything.
Let's see. How long did Mr. Baldwin last? Yeah, he was 6'4", point guard from Vanderbilt. Went to college at Vanderbilt. He grew up in New Jersey, for what it's worth. Yeah, he played 1 year for the Grizzlies and 2 for the Trailblazers. And that was it. Was he traded to the Trailblazers?
Yes, he was. I think so.
For what? Do you remember? I'm looking to see if I can find it. Show transactions. There we go. Oh, no, he was waived. He was waived by the Grizzlies. Well, hang on. He was waived by the Grizzlies in 2017.
Okay.
So a year after being a first round pick. Oh, Raptors have selected Colin Murray Boyles.
Whose name sounds like it should be from Ireland, doesn't it, Paul? Colin Murray Boyles.
Yeah. Colin.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Pete. The Pete.
The Pete.
Sounds more like Scott. Sounds more like Ireland.
Yeah.
We were right
I can't do it. Getting back to Wade Baldwin here for a second. So he signed a 2-way contract with the Trailblazers in 2017. He then signed a multi-year contract with the Trailblazers in 2018. In 2019, he was traded with Nick Stauskas, a 2021 second-round pick, which turned into Brandon Boston, and a 2023 second-round pick, which turned into Julian Phillips, to the Cavaliers for Rodney Hood. And then 3 days later was part of a 3-team trade. I won't go into all this, but he was part of a 3-team trade. He got traded 3 times in 3 days, twice on the same day.
That's impressive.
Because he got traded to the Rockets, I think.
Are we still talking about Wade Baldwin?
Yeah, he got traded to the Rockets, and then the Rockets turned around and traded him to Indiana. And then he got waived by Indiana the next day. Listen, Wade, if you're out there, I hope all is well, man. I hope you're doing well. I mean, seriously, go look at his basketball reference page, and like this 3-team trade. So him and Stauskas were traded from Cleveland to Houston. No. Yeah. And then Cleveland traded Alec Burks to the Kings. The Rockets traded Brandon Knight and Marquise Chris to the Cavs.
Marquise Chris. That's another great one.
And then the Kings traded Amon Shumpert to the Rockets. Yeah, this
Marquise Chris coming out. I remember talking to somebody about like what he was going to be in the NBA, and they said he's either going to be incredibly awesome or out of the league in like 2 weeks, because he's one of those like tools guys, and like if he could put it all together, he'd be great. And then he just like he doesn't have it. Never had it together between the ears.
All right, our local Houston Rockets are on the board now.
Paul, I finished a book today.
Oh, writing or reading?
Reading.
Okay.
It's called Orbital by Samantha Harvey.
Any relation to Steve Harvey?
No.
Okay. Just checking. So. Just checking.
It was terrible. do not read.
Well, I guess we're going to have Samantha Harvey show.
Well, so a friend recommended it to me, and like I've actually liked the books that like we've had books that we both read that we both liked, and so I was like,
Oh,
oh, okay, this will, and then so like he said this will
that's
probably be on my top books of the decade, and I'm gonna come I was gonna text I'm gonna message him back and say must be a tough decade for books.
you should text them back and say which decade.
Ugh.
Okay, so this is interesting. So the Rockets are on the clock, but it says proposed trade to Phoenix. So I don't know if that means they are going to Houston's trading this pick to Phoenix, or if like Phoenix
proposed trade.
Yeah, so I interpret that as Houston's going to pick something for Phoenix, right?
And then trade.
That's how they are making this pick on behalf of Phoenix, right? Like they are basically, in essence. But I know the Rockets had like because obviously the Rockets were the 1 seed in the West, so why are they picking in the top 10? But I think it was because they had a pick, a protected pick from Phoenix. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who. We have a gentleman from France who's available here.
Noah Essinge.
Essinge. I don't know.
Essong. Noah Essong.
Yes, there you go. There we go. Our apologies to him and his family. How about like the Dylan Harper thing, man? I really didn't know that Ron Harper was his dad until
I didn't. Well, I think I actually did know that at some point. When you mentioned it, it sounded familiar, but
now that I think about it, I think Ron Harper went to Rutgers.
That sounds right.
If I'm not mistaken,
that's probably why they got Dylan Harper.
That would make sense, right? Let's see. Ron Harper, of course, a member of the second Bulls three-peat. Did you watch the Last Dance documentary?
Oh yeah, it was great. My wife actually loved that too.
It was very, very well needed because it came out right in the middle of COVID. Like everybody's at home, and it was hit the right spot.
We would like put the kids to bed, and then we would like immediately like go downstairs because we would have it recorded. I want to say we were still with like DirecTV at that point, and so we would like have it on the DVR, and would like
okay. So Ron Harper did not go to Rutgers. Ron Harper went to Miami University. I'm presuming that means the Miami of Ohio.
Wait.
No, Miami of Ohio. He went to the same university as Wally Zerbiak from back in the day. But Ron Harper's other son, Ron Harper Jr., went to Rutgers. And then obviously Dylan went to. Because Ron Harper, the dad, Ron Harper, was born in Ohio. So it makes sense he went to Miami of Ohio. And had a very, very long career. 15 years in the league. Oh, he won. I forgot. He won a title with the Lakers too at the end. He was on that. He was on one of those Shaq Kobe Lakers teams.
So
actually, he might have won.
So he's got like four titles.
Let's see. He's got 5. So yeah, he won the 3 with the Bulls, and then he won 2 with the Lakers, I think. Yeah. He was on those back-to-back. Well, didn't they win 3 in a row? Did Shaq and Kobe win 3 in a row, or they just won back-to-back?
I thought they won. Thought they did do 3 because
no, they did. They did 3, but Ron Harper was only on the first 2.
Okay. Oh, so he's got 5 rings. Well,
5 rings.
So he was on all 3 of the 3-peat teams for the Bulls.
Rockets just picked Kaman Maluk from Duke. So welcome to Houston. Come on. Why don't you come on the show?
Come on, Maluk.
Again, our apologies to him and his family. Ron Harper basically took B.J. Armstrong's place. So if you remember, B.J. Armstrong was like the point guard, or he was the point guard on those first 3 championships, and then Jordan retires, B.J. leaves, and then Ron Harper comes in. I want to say he came in partway through that. So Jordan comes back. No. Yeah, when Jordan comes back, he comes back midway through the season. They lose the Eastern Conference Finals to Orlando. Or it might have even been the semifinals, actually. It was the Eastern Conference semifinals to Orlando. I think Ron Harper was on that team, and then he stayed on, and they ended up. I think my favorite story, there were a lot of great stories on that. That might be a good show for us to do a watch-along, too, is the Last Dance. Because there was a great story of during that Jazz, I think it was the first Jazz finals where Byron Russell was talking trash to Jordan. And Jordan looked at Stockton and Malone because they had all been on the Dream Team together, and he's like, "You better tell your boy to watch it. You better, like." And then like that night, Jordan just killed him. It was like it wasn't the flu game, but it was like one of those early games where he just because Russell was like, "I'm going to shut you down, old man," and all this stuff, and Jordan's like, "Oh, really? Okay." So.
Was that the glove situation?
The glove situation. I don't remember that. That was Gary Payton. Yeah. Gary Payton was the glove.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That was the Seattle. Okay. Yeah. I heard a great Jordan story. I was surfing around on YouTube the other day, and a video got the algorithm sent me a video. It was Magic Johnson talking about Dream Team practices, the first Dream Team. And I guess Magic, they were doing a scrimmage, and I guess Magic and Michael were on different teams. And Magic was talking trash to him. And he said, "Come on," he said, "Mike, you gonna play today, or like you gonna whatever?" And Magic said Michael proceeded to hit 4 3-pointers in a row. And he would keep looking at Magic like, "All right, you asked for it, And then he described this one play where like Jordan goes up in the air for a dunk, and David Robinson goes up to block it. And he swears that like Robinson comes back down while Jordan is still in the air. And Jordan does like a 360 and dunks it in practice, like in a.
Just like Kramer showed on the streets that one time.
Right. Exactly.
That was just a perfect reenactment.
I mean, man, that was the best thing about that Dream Team documentary a couple of years, whenever that was. Might have been during COVID too, but that was the best thing about that documentary was that they actually showed footage of them practicing. So that's what I want to see. Like, because those practices were, those games were like, I mean, incredibly. And the funniest thing was, who led the team in scoring, that Dream Team in scoring? It wasn't Jordan.
Wait, what was the
Who led the 92 Dream Team in scoring?
I remember it wasn't Barkley though, was it?
No, it was Barkley.
Oh, it was. Okay. I was like,
because that was that. So they had that summer, and then the next season is when the Suns go to the finals against the Bulls. I remember that finals. That was the closest Barkley ever got to winning the championship. Oh, all right. Who we got on the board? Do you have any favorite Portland Trailblazers from years gone by?
Wade Baldwin.
Well, DJ Augustine, right? Didn't we say DJ Augustine played?
Marcus Aldridge.
There you go. That's who I was thinking. I was like, I knew there was a Longhorn that played for Portland. Aldridge had a pretty good career, right? LaMarcus Aldridge
He did, and then he came to San Antonio eventually after that.
Right. That's where he won his title, right? He won a title with San Antonio? Or did they not win the title?
No, they did not.
Okay.
LaMarcus Aldridge always seemed like a guy who was like good, but was never like the like an exceptional player. He was just like like a very good, but not never great.
We have some breaking news here. We have a trade. The Hornets are sending Mark Williams to the Phoenix Suns for the 29th pick and a 2029 first round pick. That's right, boys and girls. You can trade picks from 2029 in 2025.
Well, because you have to have a first round pick at least every other year. You can't not have your pick from.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the.
Okay.
Oh, what's the rule called? Yeah, I can't remember what the rule is. But you can't have. You have to have one. Like if you don't have your first round pick this year, you have to have it next year, and the vice versa.
Have to have it all the way up to the point of the draft, or you have to use it?
I think you have to take it, but I think you can trade it. Like if you make that pick, and then you can trade it, but you can't like just not have a pick in that round.
Okay, so this says Portland, but it says proposed trade to the Grizzlies. So who we got in here?
Coward. So that would lead me to think that the Grizzlies that the Blazers are trading him to the Grizzlies.
That's what it says here.
Cedric
Coward.
So him and Fears going to match up. Well, they'll be matching up against each other. The Pelicans and the Pelicans.
Yeah, there you go.
And the Grizzlies facing off.
Hey, that's the Katy High School logo. The Washington State.
The Cougars.
Every time I see that logo, I'm like, well, that's Katy High School. Katy being for those listening that may not live in and around the area we're from, Katy High School is the high school local to, well, at least local to me. But
for me, that would be about 5 different Cy-Fair schools.
Katy High School, the high school also of Saints Cowboy legend Andy Dalton.
Yep.
I think he won a state title with them back in the day. My favorite NBA Cedric was Cedric Ceballos back in the day, back in the 90s.
Ooh, 3 and D prospect. Kind of what the Grizzlies need, really.
My favorite Trailblazer, I guess, would have to be Clyde to Glide Drexler. Yeah.
So obviously there should only be one pick for me here. Well, I mean the UT connection, obviously, but then Zach Randolph.
Oh well, yeah. For the Grizzlies, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked, who was the guy? He played for Boston. Was it James Posey? Did he play for the Grizzlies?
Yes, he did.
But he won the title with Boston, right, in 2008 when they had Garnett and Pierce.
Tony Allen was on that team.
But wasn't
I don't
Posey?
remember
Posey?
About James Posey.
Because I was rooting for the Celtics in that series. I just really wanted Garnett to win a title.
The one where Paul Pierce had to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, faked his that.
Yes, he was
fake.
Okay, so
yeah, he was.
So he played on Memphis before he went to Boston.
Okay.
Tony Allen played on Boston before he went to Memphis.
There you go.
Also, my favorite Pelican, Tony Allen.
My favorite New Orleans player, I guess, was Chris. I mentioned Chris Paul earlier. So when Chris Paul was playing in New Orleans, my mom one year for Christmas, as a gag gift, got me a pair of pajamas that had Paul. It was New Orleans. They were the Hornets at that point, but it had the logo and it had Paul 3 on it. Because it's
Paul.
Yeah. So she was proud of herself for that one.
You're not Paul the Third, though.
No. Not Not in the slightest. I used to think I was pretty clever back in the day. I used to introduce myself as my name is Paul, as in the saint or the beetle, whichever, or I guess the apostle or the beetle, whichever works better for you. So, all right, we're at commercial here. I'm going to step aside for a minute.
Before you do that, I have one quick.
Yep.
So, what is your go-to chain pizza place to order from?
Ooh, this is a good question. So recently, I've been getting pizza from. There's a place that opened not too far from our house called Bubba's 33.
Yes, because I talked about eating there once.
It is not. It is not a pizza. It is not a pizza place. It is a kind of a Chili's, Applebee's type place. But their pizza is out of sight, and that's where I've been going. But if I have to go chain, there actually is another place that opened up not too far from us called Pepperoni's.
They only do pepperoni pizzas.
No, you can get other kinds, but they have a New York pizza, which is double pepperoni and double cheese, and it's pretty good.
There's another office connection there. He says he's trying to remember people's names. He's like, he was fat people like pizza, pepperoni, Tony.
But as far as like, no, but real quick, as far as national chains, for the longest time, my favorite was Papa John's. I've
never liked Papa John's.
I used to love a thin crust pepperoni pizza, and I would get it because at Papa John's you can get it well done. Right. So I used to get it well done, and I used to like. I know people have opinions about Papa John's for various reasons, but
for me, it's the sauce, not the political views.
All right. With that, I will step aside for a minute. I'll be right.
All right. I'll keep people entertained. I'm going to give my reviews of these Sonic. I no longer go to Sonic to order food. I actually only go for drinks and the fried. Well, I guess the occasional ice cream. I've gotten food poisoning from there a couple of times. Let's check in on some baseball scores here. Let's see if the Rangers won 7-0. Let's see if the Astros are up 1-0 on the Phillies again. Oh, the Angels beat the Red Sox. Red Sox must be really bad. The Club.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
So the Bulls have selected Noah Esinge.
Yeah. We were talking about Ron Harper earlier. Ron Harper was probably one of my favorite Bulls growing up because he was like, I always was a fan of the players who could kind of do multiple things, like not just play, not just score, but also play. Like Ron Harper was like all defensive level player, but he could also he was one of those players that like on a team without Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen, he could be the best player on the team, but he didn't have to be on that team, so he just did what he had to do.
So the Grizzlies have traded for Cedric Coward.
Okay, so that's official now.
Yeah, so they're sending number 16, so their pick this year, and then a 2028 first-round pick by Orlando.
So,
and 2 second.
So in a couple of picks here, the Grizzlies are going to be picking on behalf of the Trailblazers, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Because to your point, they have to have that pick. They have to make that pick, but then they can trade it. Oh, man.
Sean Strani is about to break some news about this Atlanta pick.
All right. Favorite Hawk of all?
New Orleans is trading here.
Oh, with Atlanta?
Yep.
So Atlanta's making this pick for New Orleans, basically. Favorite. So I don't know about you, but growing up, I got to watch a lot of the Hawks games on TBS. This is back in the day when.
Yeah, because TBS would show I watch more Braves games on TBS.
Right. I remember watching we talked about Jordan coming back in 95 or whatever year that was.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching one of his first games back on TBS against the Hawks, and he hit a buzzer beater to beat the Hawks, and it was like, okay, Jordan's back. Like he's good, Well,
the Cubs were the other team that was on all the time. They were on WGN.
See, we didn't have WGN where I grew up. We just had TBS.
Kasparas Jakusionis?
Excuse me?
I don't know if you'll be able to say that name on the air.
I'm trying to. So now you got me thinking of names, NBA names. So you remember Sarunas Marcelonis, who was a guard from who did he play? He played for the Warriors, I think, back in the day. I remember Zrunas Ilgauskas.
I do know him.
In fact, I think it was 97, the Cavaliers in the same draft, in the first round, drafted Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Vitaly Potapenko. Potapenko? Potapenko. What we got here? NBA Pioneers. Okay, they're celebrating. There's something else I wanted to bring up with you, but I can't. Now I gotta go back.
So
anyway, real quick before you go to that, I brought up the Hawks thing because my favorite Hawk outside of Dominique Wilkins was probably Kevin Willis. You remember Kevin Willis? He was a power forward. He played for the Hawks. He ended up playing for Miami. He played for the Spurs. I think he won a title with the Spurs at one point. But anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, they're talking about Pioneers, and that just reminded me of this. So I had the Madden game for computer, like a CD-ROM.
Okay.
Like Madden games, but it was a CD-ROM. So you could make your custom. You could make an entire custom team, and so I made 2 teams, and one of them was I don't remember what my team was called, but then I made a team called the Oregon Pioneers.
Okay.
And so their uniforms were completely brown, and then so I set all of their players as the worst I could set them on every setting, and then I took my team and I made them all 99s for everything.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, let me face these guys off. And so I was let's see how many points I can score with this. And so I scored so many points that the score went to like 300 and then it reset to 0. And so I think I like ended up with like 450 points at one point. But it only it only said 150 because it had reset.
See, what I used to do is just trade all the good players to the Saints. Like
I've done that before too.
That's probably how I know a lot of these players years later. And then like in the NBA, like whatever that game, the NBA Live, I would do the same thing with the Mavericks. I would trade all the good players to the Mavericks.
Is that why you always think certain players played for the Saints? Wait, I could have played for the...
Yeah, it probably is. In my world, Mike Allstott played for the Saints. So it looks like not the Hornets, the Pelicans are getting Derek Queen from Maryland, the center.
They got a queen and a fierce.
There you go.
If they got a fierce queen.
Well, we might have topped your earlier quip of what did you say earlier?
Why do they look like Wi-Fi blocks?
Yeah, right. I think that one still wins, but that's pretty good. Oh, Derek Queen played at the same high school as Cooper Flagg, apparently. First Maryland freshman drafted in the first round in the modern draft era.
What is the line of demarcation for the modern draft era?
I have no idea. I want to say it's in the 70s. It's somewhere in the 70s.
When the NBA and ABA merged?
That's what it was. I'm guessing. See, Maryland. Who's some famous Maryland? I know Steve Francis went to Maryland once upon a time. Joe Smith. We talked about Joe Smith.
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon. How's that Stephon Diggs experiment working out in New England so far?
He's really blowing it.
Are you glad he didn't come to Dallas to play with his brother?
Yeah, but I'm worried they were training together at one point. So now I'm now I'm worried that Trayvon's going to get drugged.
I can't help you. I can't help you there, buddy. I should mention. Apparently, Tyler Shuck has not signed a rookie deal yet. I don't know if you heard about this.
Is he holding out in solidarity with your boy?
With who?
Shamar Stewart.
Oh yeah. That's what's happening. Yeah. No, apparently he wants a 4-year deal. And that's the sticking point, I guess, right now. Because for second round picks, that's not the norm, I guess. I don't know, but they're hoping he gets something done. So I will bring this up. Tyler Shuck went on the Amon St. Brown and his brother Equiminius, I believe is his name, have a podcast, and Tyler Shuck was their guest this week. And Equiminius St. Brown was on the Saints last year for a brief time. I think he played 1 or 2 games. And basically, they asked Shuck. They were like, he basically was like, yeah. He's like, I wasn't really impressed with New Orleans. I thought the food was overrated. And Shuck was like, oh, maybe that's why you're not on the team anymore. And every Saints fan that has aggregated that clip has been like, that's my guy. That's my quarterback.
Well, he did go to the correct. He didn't go to Chipotle at least. Maybe Equiminius was eating with Derek Carr at the Chipotle. That's the problem.
I remember last year before the season started.
Took me around to all the restaurants and showed me the city, and I really just thought the food was overrated.
I remember last year before the season started, they were they were just on the podcast themselves, the two St. Brown brothers, and Equiminius was like, "Yeah, I think we're gonna be pretty good." And I'm on St. Brown's like, "You guys are garbage. Like, what are you talking about?"
Isn't Equinemius, isn't that like have to do with horses? Aren't they like the horse god and the sun god or something?
Yeah, sure. No, that sounds right. Hey, the Spurs have another pick. Do you have a favorite Spur of all time? Did we talk about that one already? See who the pick is first.
He forgot his shirt.
Huh?
Carter
Bryant
forgot to wear a shirt.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Looking like didn't Wembanyama do the same thing? Didn't he have kind of a similar fit when he got drafted?
That's a good question. He probably couldn't find a shirt that fit him. That was probably the problem.
Yeah, favorite Spur of all time for me, I was always a Tim Duncan fan, which I hated because the Mavericks and Spurs were at each other's throats during that time.
He seems like he's such a nice guy.
Yeah, I was a big Tim Duncan. I liked Ginobili too. Ginobili
I liked less. Definitely not Tony Parker.
A couple of Tony Parker's teammates I heard didn't like him either.
David Robinson?
I
like David Robinson.
Yeah, the Admiral. Yeah, I mean, it was. Hey, actually, my cousin Sean Elliott played for the Spurs back in the day.
No, I know who it is. Current San Antonio Spur, De'Aaron Fox.
There you go. That's your guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that is my guy. Still haven't managed to get an autograph from him though.
Now, what for the folks playing at home? What is your connection to De'Aaron Fox?
So he went to Cy Falls, which is a local high school,
right?
And the woman who is my wife's maid of honor taught him in high school. And so like I found out about this like after he was about to get drafted out of Kentucky, and I was like, oh man, I wish the Grizzlies could get this guy. And then I like found out he went to Cy Falls, and then like
okay.
And then so I was like, you got to be kidding me.
So your wife's friend was just like, oh yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, she was like his favorite teacher. So,
well, there you go. Well, that's like I think I told the story on the show about I taught at the high school Des Bryant went to,
and Lufkin.
And in Lufkin, and the woman who hired me was like Dez's favorite teacher.
Nice.
The woman who ran the math department. She had like a signed Des jersey. He would like call her every once in a while, like just to tell her how he's doing, like those kind of things. But yeah. Hey, the NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder are on the.
Yeah, they still have like 10,000 draft picks too.
Isn't that something? And they just won the title. Like,
yep.
They're showing best non-lottery draft picks on the board here. Jimmy Butler was the 30th pick in the draft. Wow.
Also another local guy, Tom Ball.
Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's Tom Ball.
Wow, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Did not know that.
Favorite Thunder?
Can I count Seattle Supersonic?
We're not doing that. Not on this
show. If I can count Seattle Supersonic, then it's I'm going Detlef Schrempf back in the day. See, favorite Thunder. Trying to think, that's a tough one.
See, I really like Westbrook.
I was gonna say Nick Collison. I like Nick Collison.
Mr. Thunder.
Yeah. Nick Collison. I feel like who? I got to go back and look at their because I remember the year the Mavericks beat them in the Western Conference Finals. There was one guy on their team. I was like, man, I really wish he was on the Mavericks, but I couldn't. But it wasn't like Durant or Westbrook or Harden. It was a role player that. Well,
Serge
man,
Ibaka?
yeah, that might have been him. Yeah, I really was a big Serge Ibaka fan because that guy could.
That team was so good. That
God,
really,
and the Mavericks beat them. Like the Mavericks team with Dirk and like the Misfit Toys of Sean Marion and Tyson Chandler and Jason
well,
Kidd.
I remember they had like the Mavericks had like a 15-point comeback against them one game.
Yeah.
Like in one of those. Like
So that Thunder team never won a title. So now the Thunder have obviously won a championship. Durant's won 2 titles.
oh, he was part of 2 title teams.
Right. The famous Charles Barkley bus driver story. You heard about all that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did Westbrook ever win a title?
No.
And Harden hasn't won a title, right?
No.
Okay. That's what I thought. But
small game James. The fact that he like always disappears in a game 7 is pretty incredible. Like anytime there's a game 7, you know that he's bet the unders.
Well, okay, so on this team, I know who it was. Serge Ibaka was right, but I also like Reggie Jackson.
Oh, Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson was
I hated Reggie.
He was a menace. He was a menace.
I know. I hated Reggie Jackson.
You know who else was on that team was Longhorn legend Royal Ivy.
Ooh. No relation to Blue Ivy.
No relation to Blue Ivy or Merchant Ivy for that matter. Oh, how about Cole Aldridge? Remember him?
I do remember him.
Kansas. Let's take a look at some of these. I'm just looking through the Thunder teams to Hashim Thabit. There you go.
Thanks, Paul.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry.
How could you? That's like the one name.
But I mentioned him
name.
I mentioned him on the Thunder, not the Grizzlies.
That doesn't matter, Paul. There was a story about like I think Tony Allen like saw him eating a hot dog like in the middle of a game or something, and he was like,
"Oh
boy,
like,
my man, what are you doing over here?" It's like,
yo, my man, what you doing?
Yeah.
I forgot Caron Butler was on the Thunder for a time.
Former Maverick.
Oh, everybody's favorite Immaculate Grid legend Ish Smith. Dion Waiters, of course.
Dion Waiters.
So my connection to Dion Waiters, I knew who he was, but I've mentioned the Rewatchables podcast before, where each week they just talk about a movie from the past, and they have these categories they give out, and one of the categories is the Dion Waiters Award, and it's a person who comes into the movie, has like 3 minutes of awesome, and then leaves, and the implication being, Dion Waiters would come in and score like 12 points in like 8 minutes.
The biggest chucker.
Right. So that's anytime I hear Dion Waiters, that's what I think of, the Dion Waiters Award.
The Thunder have drafted Mr. Sorbet.
Yeah. A center from Georgetown. Speaking of Patrick Ewing, we talked about Patrick Ewing earlier.
Man, that is.
Remember Georgetown had a run on centers. It was like Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning,
Allen Iverson.
all within like. Well, he was a guard, but yeah.
In the center of my heart.
He was the center of attention, maybe. Who else was from Georgetown? Jerome Williams, I remember. There's a guy, he played for the Pistons.
What flag is this? It's not Puerto Rico.
I thought he was. Was he? I thought he was French. I guess I was wrong.
That's definitely not a French flag. I know.
That's definitely. You're
I don't know
right.
all
That's
my
definitely.
flags, but I know that one.
Did you ever watch Big Bang Theory?
I did.
You remember he used to, Fun with Flags? Yeah. So NBA.com, his country is listed as United States.
Yeah. It's not the New Jersey state flag, is it?
Jesus. I did not expect that. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything about another.
Doesn't have any like.
Like the U.S. flag, but with
one
star.
Is it Puerto Rico's? Boy, we're really showing our.
So it's Liberia.
Oh, okay.
That was my next guess.
Shout out to them.
So.
But I'm guessing
Puerto Rico is kind of like that, but it has like a bigger blue area.
Yeah, but it has like a
triangle
it's got a
shape,
yeah.
Here comes the Grizzlies pick.
Grizzlies picking for the Trailblazers, yeah. Did we miss any teams that we didn't give a favorite player for? Let's go back.
The Bulls.
Well, I said Ron Harper.
Oh, I would have probably said Derrick Rose.
Okay. Well, did you give me a favorite Maverick? Did you have a favorite Maverick of all time?
I would say, Dirk probably.
Yeah.
So
that's a good answer.
My dad went to Oklahoma. He travels sometimes for work for like conferences and stuff. And so one year he went to Oklahoma City, and he took a cab from like his hotel to the venue or whatever. And so the cab driver said like he drove like NBA players a lot when they were in town for the game. And so my dad asked him, was like, well, who's the worst and who's the best player that you ever? And so the guy said the worst one was Tony Parker.
Okay.
He said he was a jerk.
Not surprising.
He said Dirk was his favorite because like he got a ride from him. It was like 4 blocks, and Dirk was like getting out of the car, and he like pulled out his wallet and like tipped him $400. And just like,
oh wow,
yeah. So he's like, so the guy was like, he's like, I called my boss and told him I was taking off the rest of the day.
I'm done.
Yep, that's enough for me today. Thanks.
Let's see. Favorite? Did we do Utah Jazz? Did you give me a favorite? I mean, for me, it would. I would say. I would say probably. Well, Darren Williams, right?
That was kind of my. Remember when he was supposed to come to the Mavericks, but he ended up going to the Nets.
Yeah, and then he ended up with the Mavericks anyway.
Yes.
Later. But so Darren Williams, one of my roommates in college, who was a groomsman in my wedding, went to the same high school as Darren Williams. They were. I don't remember like how far apart they were in terms of, but I remember when Darren Williams got drafted, he was really excited because he was like, "Oh yeah, he went to the Colony, Texas."
Oh, I remember. I know the Colony.
Up near Dallas.
What is this? A school for ants?
Speaking of Ben Stiller, we were talking about Ben Stiller. Well, who does Cooper Flagg remind me of here? Looks like he looks like somebody. Can't put my finger on it.
I know what you mean.
Kendrick Perkins looks unimpressed, but that's. I think he looks unimpressed most anyway.
I think that's his default face.
Default setting. Yeah. Speaking of Thunder legends, Kendrick Perkins. Okay, so the Grizzlies are
I
picking,
kinda
but
like
they're
these-
picking for the Trailblazers.
I like these. I like these draft hats that they've got.
Draft hats?
Hats, like the
Oh,
hat
hats.
Flagg is
Hats.
wearing. Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
jeez.
simple, but kind of like
Yeah.
you know,
No, I like it. Yeah.
got a little script going on.
Yeah. I remember back in the day they kind of got crazy with them. The NFL did too, a little bit about like trying to go really crazy with the designs and all that. It's like
I
don't
want
need
to
all
get
that.
one of those like old school. You know, do you remember the shark tooth hats? I can
Sounds
pull up-
familiar.
Yeah, it was like a '90s style. I want one of those.
Well, I've been the last couple of years. I've been wearing these.
It's got like
Okay.
the
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
LA gear.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. I know what you mean when you say shark tooth. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been wearing these scally caps, cab driver hats, whatever you want to call them. The
With like
Those
the
good.
like the trucker hats.
no. So this company that I order from just came out with a trucker hat where it's like mesh in the back, but then you have like a brim. So it's like mesh. It's mesh about halfway up, and then the rest of it's like fabric. Or
Yeah, that's what I'd call a trucker hat.
yeah. So this company just started making those, but the hat I was talking about was like these. I thought I had one close by here, but it's like a cabbie hat, like a driver's cap, like you see the cabbies wear back in the day.
Okay.
Here, let me see if I can pull one up.
Young Hansen.
Oh wow! So this is for Portland, right? This is Portland's
Yes.
pick from China. First Chinese since Yao Ming be first round, or no? Is that right? First, is he the first since Yao Ming to be the first round?
I think
Chinese?
so. Like what other the Grizzlies did draft like Wong Zylin or something in the second round of several years ago. You know, if you want to go back, if you want some like really big draft like horror stories,
Yeah.
go look at like the draft history of they need a bigger hat for this guy. If you go look at like the draft history for the Chris oh gosh, now I'm blanking on his name. Who was it?
So the hat I was referring to would be something like this.
Oh, okay. I would call that like
Oh.
a golf hat. That's what I think of it as.
Yeah, that's fair. They're showing highlights from the from his combine workout because they probably don't have game highlights.
The Chinese won't allow it.
Chris, easy.
We need Igor the Russian guy to request the Chinese highlights.
Well,
Who's going to draft the
That's
Iranian? Who's going to draft the Iranian player? That's the real question. We can complete the trilogy.
wait, there was who was the Iranian play? There was an Iranian that played in the NBA for a couple of years and was like not bad. Like it was a center, I want to say. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up, but
Iranian NBA players. Hamed Haddadi, Grizzly legend.
there you go. I don't think that's not who I was thinking of. But
Okay. Hamed
I
Haddadi was
recognize
the first
it.
Iranian to play in the NBA.
Okay, maybe that must have been him. Maybe that was what I was thinking of.
He's the only Iranian player to have played.
That had to be it. It had to be he has to be the one. Who's on the clock now? The Timberwolves. Got a favorite Timberwolf from back in the day? I mean Garnett, probably. Stephon Marbury. Yeah.
So apparently Jay Billis just said that this guy was slotted as a second round draft pick, and the Blazers reached on him.
That's a shame. That's a shame. The Blazers, I remember the Blazers had this history of drafting international players.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's my cat. I don't know what's going on with him.
Is he in distress? Or she in distress?
I don't know. He seems. I'm gonna check on him real quick.
All right, yeah, go ahead. I'll while Brandon's doing that.
He seems fine.
Okay. I heard you were giving the scores out earlier. Checking in on the Astros still up 1-7 or 1-0.
They're up 1-7. What are they?
They're up 1-7.
Are they playing golf?
So the Astros scored a run in the first inning on an infield single, and that's the only run so far. It's 1-0, bottom of the seventh. That's what I meant to say. Who's pitching for the Astros? Somebody named Gordon, who I don't even know who that is. Colton Gordon? I don't know who that is. Sounds made up. The Timberwolves just selected Jean Berenger, center from France.
So when he takes threes, I'm going to call him Joan of Arc. Joan behind the arc.
Man, it's a wonder. It's a wonder how we don't have more followers.
I know.
By the way, if you're tuning in, follow us at bless_dem_boys on X or Twitter, whatever the kids are calling it these days. Find us on Blue Sky too. Defensive versatility is what they list as under Joan here. Did you have who was your favorite Timberwolf? Did we ever settle on that?
Ooh.
Latrell Sprewell?
JJ Barea?
Yeah, there you go. Was Sprewell he was on the Warriors when he coached out the coach or he choked out the coach?
Wasn't Tyus Jones a
Yeah. Tyus Jones was a Timberwolf, yeah.
Yeah, Tyus Jones probably would be one of them.
I remember back in the day, pre-Garnett, they had a guard named Doug West, I think. I remember him coming up on – I remember him because, on the video you know what it was? It might have been NBA Jam. Because remember NBA Jam, they would get two players from each team?
Uh-huh. And
I think for the Timberwolves, one of the players was Doug West. Because, this was back when the Timberwolves really sucked. They had – it's like – it was slim pickings. Because this is pre-Garnett. Minnesota Timberwolves.
Hanson Yang was projected to go in the mid-second round of the draft. The Blazers just picked him with the number 16 pick.
Would you like to hear some of the names that was on the inaugural Minnesota Timberwolves roster?
Sure.
This is back in 1989, 1990 season. We have Doug Doug West, who I mentioned a minute ago. Brad Sellers. Donald Royal. We have Scott Roth. We have Pooh
he's the one that
Richardson.
invented the IRA, right?
Yes. After he quit playing basketball, he invented the Roth IRA. How about Pooh Richardson?
Pooh Richardson.
Yep.
Is he from the 100 Acre?
Todd. Yeah. Todd Murphy. That's Todd with one D, by the way. Future NBA Coach of the Year, Sam Mitchell. Sidney Lowe. Brad Lojas, who I remember him. I had one of his cards back in the day. Gary Leonard. Steve Johnson. Tyrone Corbin, who would eventually play for the Jazz.
I think he pitches for the Rangers now.
He does. Tony Campbell, Randy Brewer, and Adrian Branch. That's your 89-90. Who was there? That's a good question. Who was the Timberwolves' first round selection back in the day? Let's see if we can figure that out. I got to go back to the franchise. Draft.
You think this Naked Gun movie is going to be any good?
I had very low hopes, but after seeing some of these trailers, I think it'll be okay.
My fear is that all the good parts are in the trailers.
That is mine as well, but
the part about the man's laughter. You mean manslaughter?
Oh, yeah.
Must have been a really good joke. That's funny.
Yeah, the first trailer, because the first trailer I saw opened with they're robbing the bank and the little girl walks in with the lollipop. And they take the mask off and it's Liam Neeson. And then, and I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
The joke that got me in the new trailer was he tells Pam Anderson to take a chair and she grabs it and walks out. You know, that was pretty good.
It's very like, because those were like the originals were the same guy who was like Airplane and
Leslie Nielsen,
yeah.
I mean, those were classic, man. I mean, they were like a joke. They were just joke after joke. Like, they didn't let you rest. It was just like they just kept coming with these
we
jokes.
We need to get him to a hospital. Doctor, what is it? It's a big building.
It's a building with patient
But that's not important right now.
That's not important right now. Okay, so here's the Minnesota Timberwolves first round drafting history. So in 1989, they drafted Pooh Richardson in the first round. 1990, they drafted Felton Spencer. Fun fact, I actually met Felton Spencer at a basketball camp when I was a kid. 1991, they drafted future Bulls legend Luke Longley. 1992, they drafted Christian Laettner. 1993, they drafted future NBA slam dunk champion Isaiah J.R. Ryder. 94 was Danielle. Not easy, Ryder. 94 it was Danielle Marshall. 95 it was Kevin Garnett. That worked out okay. And then in 96 they drafted Ray Allen, but then they traded Ray Allen for Marbury, I think that's who that was. Yeah, I want to say it was Marbury. Yeah, Milwaukee drafted Marbury. Minnesota drafted Ray Allen, and they swapped.
Okay.
The Mavericks that year drafted Samaki Walker. Jesus.
Don't remember him.
Yeah, there's a reason. Pick number 10, so the Mavericks drafted 9th. They drafted Samaki Walker. The next pick was future Maverick, Eric Dampier.
Mm-hmm.
Drafted by the Pacers. Him. Yeah. This also, 96 was also the year of, we mentioned Kobe Bryant. Peja Stojakovic was drafted that year by the Kings. Steve Nash was drafted that year.
Oh, Steve Nash, another one of my Mavericks that I like.
My favorite Steve Nash memory, I guess, was the year. This doesn't get played up as much, but the year Amari did the dunk contest, I think it was 2003. Amari Stoudemire.
Uh-huh.
He did a dunk where he threw it off the backboard to Nash, who was on the other side of the paint, and Nash did a soccer head pass back to Stoudemire, who caught it in the middle of a 360 and dunked it. I thought it was one of the coolest dunks I've ever seen. But this was like right around the same time Vince Carter was doing all of his stuff, so like nobody remembers it.
I think my favorite Minnesota dunk contest player was the birthday
Gerald Green.
Gerald
Green. Yeah, that was the same year as the Superman, as Dwight Howard did the Superman that year too. Kenny Smith put that over the top that year because he was on commentary for TNT, and that's when he came out with the Superman cape, and Kenny was like, "Superman's in the building," and all this stuff. Kenny Smith would, anytime he would say, "It's over, ladies and gentlemen," it's all, that was always the best part of those. Another one of my favorite dunk contest memories was, I think it was Andre Iguodala was in the contest. And he was lining up his dunk, and they did a quick cut to the crowd, and it was who was it? I can't remember the player's name. It was a player, and he had this really loud red jacket on, and they cut to him, and then they cut right back to Iguodala, and Charles Barkley comes on. He goes, it was Damon Jones. That's who it was. Remember Damon? It was Damon Jones. And Barkley's like, whoa. He's like, go back to Damon Jones' coat. Like he couldn't care less about Iguodala's dunk. It's like yelling at the. He was like yelling at the camera. Oh, please! After this dunk, go back to Damon Jones' coat. Walter Clayton Jr. goes to
I think technically the Jazz.
Right, to the Wizards, but then he's going to go to the Jazz.
Walter Clayton,
do we have a favorite?
I think the best player on the national championship.
Oh, right. Yeah, I do remember him now. Yeah. Do we have a favorite wizard other than Harry Potter?
You don't even know if Harry Potter's my favorite wizard in the series.
That's true. That's fair. That is fair.
I would say probably Fred and George Weasley would be my favorite wizards.
There you go. I thought Neville did pretty well for himself there at the end.
He did.
Do you remember why they changed their name to the Wizards?
Because they were the Bullets and the gun violence was a big issue.
Right. Columbine happened, and they were like, yeah, let's and it just so happened that Harry Potter kind of started around the same time. I think the books had started to come out. So they were
was
like,
it that recent? For some reason, I didn't realize it was that. Like,
I want to say, hang on, let's go to the archives here, because my favorite, when they were still the Bullets, they had Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, Rod Strickland. You remember Rod Strickland?
They also had Gilbert Arenas.
Who was
the guy that he got into the gun beef with?
Oh, I don't remember. I remember what you're talking about, but no. I remember what you're talking about. I just don't remember who the other party was.
To jail for like actually murdering somebody.
Okay, so I lied. The Wizards, their first season as the Wizards was 97, so Harry Potter could not have been. Okay. And that was before Columbine too, so it wasn't because
Columbine was 99. I think it was more of a gun violence in the city thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. The first year as the Wizards, here was some of their players. Calbert Chaney, remember Calbert Chaney?
Mm-hmm. Javaris Crittenton.
Javaris Crittenton. How about Darvin Ham, current, former Lakers coach, I guess.
Yes.
Juwan Howard, Tim Legler, current ESPN analyst. God Shamgod. You remember him?
I do remember him.
Rod Strickland. Ben Wallace, he was in his first year in the league. Chris Webber. And then, that's about it. Oh, Tracy Murray. Do you remember Tracy Murray?
I don't.
He was like a 6'7" small forward who could shoot threes. Like that was kind of his claim to fame.
Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart,
so the next year they got Mitch Richmond. Mitch Richmond played for Washington. I forgot about that. Otis Thorpe, Rocket legend Otis Thorpe. Mitch Richmond, underrated player, I would say. People don't talk about Mitch Richmond a lot. I always thought he was a good player, personally. But what do I know? Some other. Remember Isaac Austin? He was
the name sounds familiar.
He was a center. He played for Washington, but I remember him more as a member of the Heat, of the Miami Heat. He was a Grizzly, Isaac Austin, for 1 year, 2000 to 2001.
Okay.
So, was that before your time?
That was before my time. All right, so the Nets are on the clock with another one of their picks.
And they're keeping this one? Do we know?
If they have roster spots for them.
The Nets had 4 first-round picks, but they had to cut 3 of them because they didn't have enough roster spots. While we're waiting on this pick, have I mentioned the streaming service Tubi on the show before?
Yes.
TUBI.
Are you going to try to get us a sponsorship deal with us?
Yeah. Why not? Tubi, if you're listening, I mean, we'll take it. Listen, they have I just got a. No, I just got an email from them. They just because it's getting towards the end of the month, so they're letting you know what movies on their service are about to leave. Last chance to see. So these are some of the movies that are on Tubi for free. By the way, these are completely free to watch. Taxi Driver, In the Line of Fire, Jackie Brown, Fury. Have you seen the movie Fury with Brad Pitt?
No.
It's like a war. He's a tank. He's a tank commander. It's like him and Shia LaBeouf, John Bernthal. It's really good.
I need to watch. Oh, you told me about it. I think we talked about it on the show.
We did. I think I did. Oh, we got another French guy. Is this the third French guy that we've had picked?
They're killing it, man. The French are really on the.
But they can't beat us in. They can't beat us in the Olympics
yet.
Yeah, Wemby's coming.
So I need to watch. I should watch In the Line of Fire before it goes off because this was the first.
It's a good movie
I saw.
Oh, really?
I think I was 5 years old.
Okay.
So we went to the theater. So it was like we were in Houston visiting my mom's family, and so like me, my dad, uncle, aunt, like we were going to go see the Coneheads.
Okay.
Well, the Coneheads was sold out.
Hey, man.
And so
we used to be.
My dad and my uncle were just like, "Hey, let's just go see In the Line of Fire." Oh,
I like this idea.
The only thing I remember from this movie is like at one point was it Clint Eastwood?
Clint Eastwood is the protagonist. Yeah, John Malkovich is the bad guy.
Yeah, he's like, "Are you just gonna? Why don't you just shut up and shoot me?" And so
yeah,
so obviously like my dad is like just doing this, like we're just rolling with it. And so I get home and then I tell my mom, I was like, I got to see an R-rated movie, and my mom was irate. She was
Your dad,
not happy.
Your dad heard about it that night, boy.
Oh, I bet. Oh, so I'm gonna have to go watch that again. Because...
So, yeah, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. So I remember that. I don't know if that was the first R-rated movie, but I remember what my mom rented it from Blockbuster because we didn't go to the movie theater really. And I remember she rented it from Blockbuster, and I remember Malkovich scared the shit out of me, man. He was scary as a villain. Because then a couple of years later, he does the movie Con Air. You remember Con Air? He plays Cyrus the Virus, and he was scary in that too. But yeah, it's and I should point out the guy who directed In the Line of Fire also directed a little movie called Air Force One with Harrison Ford. Where Harrison Ford's the president.
Oh, Nosferatu is another one that's about to go away. Also, Never Ending Story.
Yeah. Tubi, they have a pretty good selection of movies. Again, if you're listening, folks at Tubi, we'd be happy to welcome you in as a. Have you seen the movie Taxi Driver? Have you seen that movie?
I haven't.
That's another one. It's really good. What else we got here? Oh, Memento. Memento's on Tubi right now. One of our favorites, I think. One of our shared favorites. Hereditary. This is actually Tubi is how I watched Hereditary for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I watched it on Tubi. Now, I will say Tubi does have commercials, so that just fair warning. I mean, that's how we used to watch things back in the day anyway, but I don't. If you're.
Yeah, my kids get irritated when there's commercials and things. Because we have the Disney version with the commercials. Because I'm too cheap to fork over the extra.
Oh yeah,
few bucks a month for the.
Is that what did George say? He's like, cheapness is not a gift. I will recommend. There is one movie I'm looking through the list here. I'll recommend this one. It's called Slow West. Stars Michael Fassbender. It's a Western, believe it or not, called Slow West. I was one of the first movies
Go West, but go west slowly. Is that the plot?
It was one of the first movies I remember seeing Fassbender in, and I was really impressed by it.
I think it's Fassbender in a slow movie.
There you go.
Should be Michael Slowbender.
Not your best work on this episode, but we'll I think the Wi-Fi bars. We're not going to talk.
Bar pretty high for this one, right?
You set the Wi-Fi bar really high. Yeah. A lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies on Tubi, for what it's worth.
Is Bloodsport on there?
No, I don't think so. Well, hang on. Let's see.
I need to look.
Let's do a quick search here. Bloodsport is on there, but it's leaving in 6 days, so you gotta get it.
I need to watch it this weekend then.
Also available Kickboxer and Kickboxer 2, Electric Boogaloo. Actually, I'm sorry. How about Kickboxer 4? Where's Kickboxer 3? Did we miss Kickboxer 3? Well, anyway. There's Kickboxer Retaliation. Also, I've never heard of this Van Damme movie. It's called Lionheart.
It sounds familiar.
So it's from the early 90s.
Richard?
I remember Bloodsport. Man, Bloodsport tripped me out too because I caught it on like TBS one day. And when the bad guy like stabs that guy in the leg and like breaks his leg, like kicks a guy in the leg and breaks his leg. I was like, nope,
Whoa.
no sir, like no sir. Oh man,
Jakub Jonas.
excuse me.
Jakub Jonas. I think you're supposed to say Gesundheit. You're so looking.
Any favorite Miami Heat players over the years? Lonzo Mourning was for me. I love Lonzo Mourning.
What about Bimbo Coles?
Bimbo Coles, yeah. How about Sherman Douglas? He was one of my immaculate grid. He was my immaculate grid go-to for a while when I was playing
Sherman Douglas
basketball, because he played for the Celtics, the Heat, and a couple other teams. But yeah, Bimbo Coles was another good one. I think Dan Marley played for the Heat. He played for the Suns and the Heat. That was his two teams that he played for. Thunder Dan Marley. Oh wait, was also on another thing I'll mention about Tubi is their categories. They come up with some like kind of interesting, like they have a category right now. It's called something. Yeah, it's not just like horror, comedy. Yeah, there's one that's like something completely different.
And now for something completely different.
Before they were stars, like that kind of stuff.
Have you ever seen? So Monty Python. Did you ever watch their TV show Flying Circus?
No, I've heard of it, but I've never could find a. So I don't think I've ever found a way to watch it, to be honest.
Oh, great show. So I have DVDs of it.
Okay.
But they did like a. You know how the Seinfeld had the clip shows?
Yeah.
So they did a movie, but it was basically kind of like a clip show where they just did some of their like best sketches. And so like the transition that they would have for the movie, it was called "And Now for Something Completely Different." And between the clips or between the sketches, they would just say, "And now for something completely different." And so
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that. Yeah.
So like one of them, it's like that one of the sketches is how not to be seen. One of them is how to defend yourself if someone attacks you with a piece of fresh fruit. Things like
okay. That. There's another movie I'll just mention that's on Tubi right now. I don't know if we've talked about this before. Walk the Line. Have we talked about Walk the Line before? So I bring that up because I don't know if you saw. There was a trailer released this week for the new Bruce Springsteen biopic.
Yeah, I'll pass on that one.
You're not a Boss fan? You're not a fan of the Boss? Well, it drew my interest because the guy playing Bruce Springsteen is Jeremy Allen White from The Bear. And in the trailer, he looks, I mean, he's doing a pretty good Springsteen. At least from what I know. Yeah. Yeah, so we obviously had the Chalamet Bob Dylan movie last year, and maybe this will be.
We got to
that.
Stop
I don't know.
This is like the. I wouldn't say like Marvel movie thing, but it's just like what Rami Malek won his like best actor for the Queen movie, and it's like, oh, now we got to do one about everybody, and so. And actors want to be in it because they know you can win an Oscar doing that, and so it's just like the.
Well, what they should have done, what they should have done in A Complete Unknown is they should have had Joaquin Phoenix show up as Johnny Cash instead of who played Johnny Cash in that one? Is it because Johnny Cash is in the movie in A Complete Unknown? I know for sure. I forget who they had playing.
I will be going to see the Prince biopic if we ever get that.
Well, they were supposed to have a Michael Jackson biopic this year or next year, but they had to go back and reshoot a bunch of stuff.
Somebody posted on Twitter, and it said Drake's next album will remind people that he's even better than Michael Jackson, and somebody quote tweeted it and said, "At music or the other thing."
All right. Whew. All right, you got a Utah Jazz up.
We're 2/3 of the way through here.
Who? Okay, hang on. Who are the teams that have not made a pick yet? I feel like we keep seeing the same teams making picks here.
I know it feels that way, doesn't it?
Let's see.
We've had the Rockets. We've had all the Southeast teams like the Thunder, the Grizzlies, the Mavericks, the Rockets, Spurs.
Okay, so the Cavaliers, I don't think I've picked yet. The Celtics, the Knicks, the Pacers.
Have the Knicks picked?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like these are teams that I don't think have picked yet.
Okay.
So the Cavs, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Pacers, the Bucks. Have the Bucks had a pick yet?
Don't think so.
Pacers have a pick. I just saw the Pacers have a pick coming up, looks like. The Pistons. Have the Pistons picked yet?
Don't think so.
No, didn't they they did a big trade? Didn't the Pistons do a trade with their first round pick for somebody? I don't know.
There's been a bunch of trades lately, but they've all been big who cares trades.
I heard
the Kevin Durant and the Desmond Baden trade. There's been a bunch of
I heard the Pistons were in on Durant, but I guess and I did hear that Durant apparently was declining trade offers so that the offers would get basically to make it to where Phoenix didn't get as much as in return. So that's why he finally took the Rockets offer, because he felt like that was the one where he gets to go someplace he wants to be, but he doesn't gut the team that he's going to. You know what I mean? So
yeah, because they traded Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, and that was the
right, and 5 second-round picks or something like that.
Yeah.
That was the part of that trade that made me go wait, excuse me, you traded what? Every time they cut to this guy,
you can actually just buy second-round picks. You can just give a team money and say,
oh, no joke.
Yeah, I think that's actually illegal. It's second-round picks are pretty easy to come by. If you want to just instead of trading something for a second-round pick, you can just here's $700,000. Can we have that pick? Will Riley,
so the
wing out of Illinois.
So he is drafted by Utah, but I think he's going to the
Washington?
Wizards.
Yeah.
Another Utah Jazz legend, Greg Ostertag. Remember him?
Sounds like
he was a center.
He sounds like a dishwasher brand.
Right.
Yeah, just put that in the Ostertag.
Yeah, legendary finals matchup at center between Luke Longley and Greg Ostertag back in the day.
Grew from 5'9" to 6'6" during the pandemic.
Did he get the shot? What happened?
He got long COVID.
He got long.
It made him long.
I really wish I could use that. So the clip that I was trying to play earlier for you to hear was the Family Guy ostrich.
Oh yeah, the heh.
Ha. That's my go-to reply GIF on Twitter. If somebody says something, well, I've used it on you probably before.
I use that's a shame a lot.
Right. Yeah, Well, I saved that one for football season for for when
when the Eagles lose,
right?
Or something that happens to the Eagles.
That's for you.
Giants lose.
That's for you, yeah. So, you texted me the other day, Brandon, and you said you asked ChatGPT to predict the records for the NFL coming up.
I need to follow up with you on that because I was going through it.
So yeah, so I did the same thing. I won't give away any records, but they did not give me a record for the New York Giants. Like, they gave me a record for every other team, but not the Giants. So I was like, okay.
So I went back and like calculated the like records from the scores that they gave me.
Doesn't add up.
A couple of them were missing games, and so I'm like having them go back and
Right.
But the Titans, according to this schedule, have 13 home games.
Oh wow! Good for them. Good for them.
I don't know what ChatGPT is pulling this from. This is the kind of thing that AI is like. People are like, AI is not. It's not there yet, basically, because it's like I was like,
yeah.
So
it's like out.
It's like something's off here.
It's like 1996. AI is just not quite there yet.
I think it has like the Cardinals winning one game.
Oh, well, probably against the Saints. Probably the first game.
No, the Saints win that game. Remember,
so how did you prompt?
The Saints are going 8-9.
How did you prompt it? Did you just like?
So I started off. I said, can you predict all 272 games in the NFL season? And it said, that's a lot. Here's the first week of games. I was like, okay, this is a lazy computer. First of all,
we talking about practice. We're talking about practice.
So, and then I said, okay, can you predict week 2 games? And then it would give me week 2 games, and then week 3, week 4, week 5.
So you had to do that
18 times. And then one of the games, so you know how the Cowboys have the Thanksgiving game and then they play a week later on Thursday again?
Yeah.
So it had the Cowboys it had the Packers and Lions playing that next Thursday instead of Cowboys Lions.
Okay.
And so then I looked, I was like, the Packers have 2 games this week for some reason. so the ChatGPT needs a little fine tuning right now. But I'm gonna go back. I think there's still a couple of teams that I'm missing games on. I'm gonna go back and redo those to get the.
So I have gone through, like I did last year. I've gone through. I've predicted, or I've done all 272 games. I did a couple passes. I won't give anything away. We'll save that for when we do our division previews. I
started mine, but I need to go through and actually do the work. I've only done 2 games.
I will say, I did not make a team 0-17 like I did last year with.
Good work, Paul.
With the Giants. I just remember because the way I did it, for those that maybe haven't heard, I just went through game by game, week by week, and got to the end. It's like, all right, let's see what I got. And I looked, New York Giants, 0-17. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, they were close. They were
very bad.
Yeah, they were bad. And then I went back because I was like, I went back to my 2024 to see how off I was, which we probably did at some point when we were wrapping the season up last year. But the 49ers was the worst because, I had them going 13-4 and they went 5-12 or whatever. Then there was the Vikings were the opposite. I had the Vikings going 6-11 and they went 13-4. So we'll see.
ChatGPT has the NFC East finishing with the Eagles at 10-7, and then the Cowboys and Commanders tied at 9-8, and the Giants win 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to spoil too much, but that's That's about, maybe not the exact same records, but that's about what I kind of had in terms of. I figured I'd rather jinx the Eagles than jinx the Cowboys.
I appreciate that.
Do you want me to just have the Cowboys go 0-17 and then
There we go.
That'll do it.
That'll show them.
I do feel like, again, not to give too much away, but I do feel like I'm falling into the 49er trap again.
They do have the easiest schedule this year, though.
I mean, look, man, I was going through it. I'm like, I don't see how they're losing some of these. Like, how are they? They're going to lose to Cleveland. They're going to lose to the Saints, the Falcons, the Bucks, the Panthers. Like, I mean, I don't know.
The Drake.
The Drake. You're ahead of me. So, did the Drake get drafted?
The Drake Powell got drafted.
The Drake. There you go. Going to Brooklyn, looks like. Well, he's going to Atlanta now, but then he'll end up in Brooklyn. Okay, so this guy is apparently a good defender because all of his highlights have been.
Well, they're showing it. He seems like a 3-and-D guy because they're showing him shooting now.
Yeah. Got to love the Drake. I remember, so not to
on-ball defender 3-point shooter is what it says.
Yeah, not to be the back in my day guy, but like I just saw his stats pop up, and he averaged like 7 points a game last year in North Carolina, and I just don't remember guys like that getting drafted when I was, like
these kids,
back in my day.
You had to earn your first-round draft pick. You had to put up at least double digits.
Well, I remember like we were talking about that 96 draft, and like all these international players are getting drafted, and it's like where the hell are these guys? Where do you find these guys? Like where do you find Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Vitaly Potapenko? Oh, I did check out. I see a commercial for it right now. I did check out Ironheart, the new Marvel miniseries. It's pretty good. Yeah,
it's not another. As Tony Kornheiser would put it on his show when there was a movie he had. Didn't see it, didn't want to see it.
I remember him saying. I think he said that on PTI a couple times.
Yeah. Just too much for me. We
didn't. I failed to. This is a bad job on my part. I meant to mention this a couple times, but Around the Horn is no longer on. They canceled Around the Horn on ESPN, so pour one out for them. But that was Around the Horn and PTI. That was my.
Oh, whenever I got off from school, put that on and just watch it.
When I was in college, first thing in the morning, I wake up, turn on, it was Mike and Mike. You go to class, take care of all that, come back, and I would actually have to watch the replay on ESPN2 of Round the Horn and PTI because they would show it on ESPN first, and then at the next hour, they would show it on ESPN2. And yeah, man.
So I still listen to Kornheiser's podcast, but whenever he has Wilbon on, I just fast forward it because he is old man yells at cloud these days, and it's just like I can't listen to this.
He was back then too, though. Like I felt
like it was less so, or maybe just the way it was presented was less crotchety.
Yeah, my favorite Tony Kornheiser fact is that he was in the booth for Monday Night Football when the Saints had their first home game after Katrina.
Mm.
It was Tirico, Kornheiser, and I don't remember who the former player was, but it's just always weird to go back and like see highlights from that game and like Kornheiser's there.
You know, I have Tony Kornheiser's autograph.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when he did his radio show for ESPN 980, he would take mail, like he would read stuff like actual mail.
Oh.
And so
yeah.
When my wife and I were getting married, like people would send him wedding invitations, and he would always say, "Well, there's no way I'm going to this," but he'd like read, like if you wrote a note with it, he would read it on the air or whatever. And so I wrote him a note, and I sent him an RSVP card, and I said, "Hey, can you sign this and return it in the?" Because we like had a pre-stamped envelope, and he was like happy to do that. And so like I sent it to him, he read the note and was like signed it, sent it back. And then after I did that, everybody else started sending in stuff for him to sign and send back. And so I started like, then he got mad that everyone was doing it. But I still have the RSVP card from him in our like wedding scrapbook.
But he didn't show up, right?
He didn't show up. He respectfully declined, as it said on the invitation.
Okay, so this is the Pelicans Hawks trade. Hawks get the 2026 first round pick, unprotected, most favorable of New Orleans and Milwaukee, whatever the hell that means.
Okay, so now this Pelicans pick will end up going to Atlanta.
Right. So Derek Queen is going to be with New Orleans, and then whoever they pick here will go to Atlanta.
What do you think of Trae Young?
So I was actually excited when the Mavericks drafted him back in the day. I was more excited when they traded him for Luka, obviously, but I talked about this maybe on the show a couple of weeks ago. Like Halliburton for the Pacers had that one run in the in-season tournament, like last year or the year before, where it's like, oh, this guy's really good. And I kind of feel about that about Trae Young. Like he'll have these spurts where it's like, this guy might be one of the top 10 players in the league, but then he kind of, I don't know if it's because there's nobody else around him or if
he's a little small too, and so like you can kind of run him on defense. I think his like shooting numbers are actually not as good as you would think, given that he just like pulls from the like logo all the time. I remember like one time I took like shots. I did like what players like shoot versus what they like you'd expect them to shoot from based on where they're shooting from, and his numbers were actually like not as good as you'd think.
Right.
A Newell. You got a new. You got a well, which is good, and it's just new in front of it. My Newell.
As long as they don't have to annul the pick, it'll be all right.
Nice lilac suit we got going on here.
Think I could pull that off? Think I should try to?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, the other day I was wearing a blue shirt to work, and then like one of my coworkers, like she walked up and I was like, I pointed, she was wearing the same kind of color shirt, and I was like, hey, we're matching today, and she goes, yeah, it's like a periwinkle, and I said, it's blue, okay.
See, that makes me think of the Doorman episode when George walks in on Frank and Kramer. They're trying on the bro. And then George starts to get self-conscious about his chest region.
Was she a bosomy woman?
Bosomy?
You're asking me if your grandmother was bosomy?
But then, like, he's on the subway or something, and a woman walks up to him and is like, hey, we match. And George's like, what?
So when we first moved into our house, we have like 2 twin beds, and we needed to get new sheets for them. And so I told my wife, I was like, hey, when you get sheets for the bed, get different colors so we can tell them apart. And so that way we don't like, get them mixed up or whatever. And so she comes back from Target, and I was like, hey, did you get did you get different colors? And she goes, yeah, I did. And I said, well, what'd you get? And she said, I got eggshell and cream. And I was like, so no, you didn't get different. You got white.
You got different shades, just not different colors.
That's the same color.
All right, the NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder.
Green Bay. They drafted him from the Green Bay Packers. It appears.
There you go. My coworker, who is a Packers fan, was I was talking to him the other day about Jair Alexander getting signed by the Ravens, and the Cowboys signed a former Green Bay corner.
Yes, he had a
Rochelle, right?
Erotic jersey from Atlanta to Dallas.
Yeah, I was gonna come on the show and say, hey, the Cowboys signed a cornerback from Green Bay, but not Jair Alexander.
Yeah, someone pointed out Landon pointed out on the Locked On Cowboys show is like, the Cowboys fans are mad that the Ravens signed him for fairly cheap, and Landon pointed out, it's like, he wasn't going to sign that same deal in Dallas. If he was going to come to Dallas, you were going to have to pay him more than that, because like the role that he would have had in Dallas is not going to be what he's going to have in Baltimore. All right, the champion Thunder.
The second pick. Again, they won the title and they have 2 first-round picks. This is ridiculous.
Seems unfair. Seems a little unfair.
A little bit. And I don't think they're losing. I don't know what their free agency situation looks like in the offseason, but let me ask you about this while we're waiting here. Do you prefer the NFL method of free agency before draft or the NBA method of draft before free agency?
I think I like the way the NFL does it.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That was my thought too.
I think it makes for better team building that way. Because with the NFL, you can kind of shore up your needs a little more in free agency, and then when you're going into the draft, you kind of have a better idea of what you're actually going for.
We should mention this pick is going to Sacramento, apparently.
Neat Clifford.
The big red dog?
Big purple dog.
Big purple dog. Oh, that's like it's like a tie-dye type
it's like a sunset
thing you get going. Yeah. Colorado State. Ooh. Who's the basketball legends from Colorado State? Let's pull that up here.
David Roddy.
Excuse me?
David Roddy, Memphis Grizzly legend.
Big Body Roddy?
Yeah.
Wow, this guy's played for this guy. Wait, hang on. Am I reading this right? The guy got drafted in 22, and he's already played for 5 teams.
Sounds about right.
He's on the Ish Smith path. Okay, let's see here. So, Colorado State. So, yeah, David Roddy. I don't know any of these guys. Glenn. We got Pat Durham, Rick Fisher, Eddie Hughes, Bob Rule. The WNBA, we should point out, Becky Hammon.
Ooh.
WNBA legend. I believe Isn't she like an assistant coach with the Spurs? Or she was?
No, she coaches in the WNBA now.
Oh, she coaches the WNBA. That's right.
I gotta tell you, Becky Hammond back in the day, she quite the looker.
She was all right. She was
all right.
She possessed many of the qualities coveted by the superficial male. Is that what they said? I think that was the quote.
Which episode is that from?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to put myself in the headspace here. She also it's the Switch, I think.
Oh yes, the roommate because
he's describing the roommate.
She has a great laugh too.
She also possesses many other qualities coveted by the superficial male, or however he possesses. Because then that leads into him saying, "So you see my predicament," and George is like,
"In the Middle Ages, you could be arrested and suggesting."
If I'm hearing you clearly, and I think that I am, my suggestion is to pay your check, go home, and never speak of this again.
It can't be done.
They didn't have roommates in the Middle Ages.
I can't be an orgy guy.
By the way, I think it's one of the
orgy friends. I'd have to get one.
I think that's one of the most underrated twists in an episode ever in for Seinfeld.
Oh, I think
like the whole. Well, and then because then the whole menage a trois thing comes back in the label maker. Because George is trying to get out of that relationship with the girl with with no furniture.
Who has the velour?
Yeah, and then does it come back again? I'm trying to think.
I only
or is it just that
two situations?
Okay, maybe not.
Oh, a label maker.
Shout out to Heisenberg himself, Bryan Cranston. He tells a story on the DVDs about because in that episode he has to like make out with Elaine. Like, and he said when they were shooting, Julia was sick, had a cold or something. And like a week later, he got sick. So he's like, yeah, I used to tell people I got sick from making out with
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
With Julia Louis-Dreyfus. This is obviously pre-COVID. So
Orlando is now on the clock.
You know who I liked? So that finals team for the Magic that played against the Rockets. Nick Anderson, Dennis Scott. Those are two of my favorites.
Courtney Lee.
Courtney Lee, of course. Yeah. Dominique Wilkins played for the Magic once upon a time for a brief period.
Penny Hardaway.
Penny was. Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Blue Chips?
No.
Okay, we need that needs to be one of the movies we watch. We'll do a watch along for.
Jace Richardson.
Not to be confused with Jason Richardson. Oh, Michigan State. Jason Richardson also went to Michigan State.
Is he related to Jace Richardson?
He might be. I mean, look, we're on a roll with that tonight. Let's see.
Yeah, Michigan State, alma mater of Jaren Jackson Jr., current Grizzly.
Is he going to get traded? Triple J?
Well, his name is Jason Anthony Richardson. Yes, he is the son of Jason Richardson.
Okay, yeah, okay. Then yeah. He went to Bishop Gorman in Nevada. That's a big.
Oh yeah, because he's Jason Anthony Richardson II.
There you go.
We solved that mystery.
Mission accomplished. Back to base, Jim.
Office yesterday.
What episodes?
I just had a little while because I was just like trying to hang. I was just hanging out, had some time to kill. It was the Diwali episode was on.
Oh yeah, here you go. Oh god, that one's a little misguided, I guess.
Oh, and then the episode where they closed down the Scranton office.
Oh yeah. Jason Richardson also a little underrated in his time in the NBA. A lot of people thought of him as just a dunker, but he could score. He was on that Warriors team that beat the number 1 seeded Mavericks back in the day. I think
2007 team.
Yeah, I was not pleased.
I remember going into that postseason because I had watched the Mavericks play them a lot, like when they had matched up, and you could tell that they were a bad matchup for that team. Like every time they played them, it was like you kind of knew it was a matchup problem for them
because they were kind of a ragtag. The Warriors, I mean, were just kind of a ragtag bunch. It was like Baron Davis, Jason Richardson,
and they were coached by Donnie Nelson, weren't they?
I believe so. Yeah. Mehmet Okur on that team?
That sounds right.
It's amazing the things I can remember when
we put our minds to it.
Let's see here. You said it was 2008?
2007.
2007.
I thought.
Well, because the Mavericks went to the finals in 2006, lost to the Heat, and then let's see here. Oh, Monte Ellis.
Yes.
He killed the Mavericks in the series. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I know what it is. I was looking at the wrong. Yeah, beat the Mavericks and then lost to the Jazz. Let's see, who was on that team? Okay, Monte Ellis was not on this team. But he was. He was. Mike Dunleavy Jr., I should say. Mm-hmm. Matt Barnes.
Oh, God.
Was on that team. Donald Foyle.
I remember. Grizzly legend.
First round. He was a top 10 pick by the Warriors out of Colgate. Troy Murphy. Yeah, Troy Murphy. Jason Richardson, we just mentioned. Steven Jackson. He and Barnes host the podcast now, don't they? Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, don't they have a podcast that they host? Yeah. I saw that name. I wasn't even going to try. See, the Mavericks that year. Oh, my God. I totally forgot about this. Mavericks that year were coached by Avery Johnson.
I remember that. The Little General.
J.J. Barea on that team. Austin Crocier on that team.
Al Harrington was on this team.
On the Warriors?
On the Warriors.
Oh, yeah, that's a name. Jerry Stackhouse was on the was on the Mavericks, excuse me. Jason Terry. Hey, Kevin Willis. I mentioned Kevin Willis. Josh. Man, Josh Howard was a good player too, man. I like
DJ Mbenga?
Devin George. I remember him. Sagana Diop. Remember Sagana Diop?
Looking at this roster, I'm actually impressed that the Mavericks were even the 1 seed that year.
I mean, it was all dirt. I mean, it was mostly dirt.
Give JJ Barea and Jason. Well, Jerry Stackhouse was still pretty good at that point too.
Stackhouse could fill in, like if Dirk was off a night. Yeah, Dirk won MVP that year. That's right.
When did Michael Finley leave the Mavericks?
Who he got traded for Nash. So whenever Nash came Let's see. Because Finley was drafted by the Suns.
Oh, this is what the Michael Bridges trade. That's why the Nets have so many picks.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember this now. Yeah. Good Lord.
I wanted the Grizzlies to trade everything for Michael Bridges.
All that so the Knicks could have the Villanova connection. So let's see. Yeah, so Michael Finley was drafted by the Suns, and then his second year in the league, they traded him to Dallas. And he stayed with Dallas for a while. And then in 2004, 2005, and then in 2005, he goes to San Antonio. And then plays out basically the rest of his career with them, but his last season he gets traded to Boston. He finishes out with Boston. I did not remember Michael Finley playing for the Celtics.
One or two of their championship teams, wasn't he?
Yeah, one of those early ones with Duncan
I would say Michael Finley's probably up there on my list of favorite Spurs, favorite Mavericks too.
I loved him as a Maverick. He was a really good. He was another guy that was like underrated. I'm trying to see. Trying to get his full. Yeah, Finley was drafted first round. Hey, 30 years ago, 1995 draft. Michael Finley drafted in the first round. Okay, so let's see. So he got traded. Oh, so the draft pick the Suns got so that they could draft Michael Finley was part of a trade where they traded Cedric Ceballos to the Lakers. So in theory, Michael Finley was traded for Cedric Ceballos. But and then December 96, the Suns trade Sam Cassell, AC Green, and Michael Finley to the Mavericks for Tony Dumas, Jason Kidd, and LaRon Meyer. And then Finley plays out with the Mavericks, and then in 2005 he just signs with the Spurs. So it wasn't the Nash. I thought it was the Nash trade, but it wasn't the Nash trade. It was the other Hall of Fame point guard that played for the Mavericks, Jason Kidd. That's who he got traded for.
So my friend who's like the Phillies fan who went to the game last night, I sent her the final score because tonight the Astros won 2-0. And so
there you go.
I sent her a picture of the score and I said disgraceful.
See, Steve Nash, looking at his. So Nash was drafted in 96 by the Suns. In 98, he was traded to Dallas. What do you hear this return that?
Wait, so he was drafted by the Suns and then traded to Dallas and then eventually traded back to the Suns?
Yeah. So wait till you hear this haul that the Suns got for him in 98. Okay. Pat Garrity, Martin Morsip, Bubba Wells, and a first-round pick that ended up being Sean Marion. So then he plays for Dallas.
To Dallas to
exactly. So then in 2004 he signs back with Phoenix. To your point, and then in 2012 he's traded by Phoenix to the Lakers.
Was he? I thought he was traded to Phoenix.
No, I thought he was. He was by the Mavericks. No. Sorry, he was. Yeah, I thought he was too, but no. Apparently he just signed. Oh. It says he just signed as a free agent in 2004. And then that's where he won MVP. He won the 2 MVPs, which pisses Shaq off on Inside the NBA every time it gets brought up. There was one where like they had a guest on and they were talking about voting for MVP, and Ernie said something about voting for MVP. And Shaq's like, so wait a minute. So you've always been able to vote for MVP? And Ernie's like, yeah. He goes, so those 2 years Steve Nash beat me out, you voted for him instead of me? And Ernie goes, yeah. Shaq was so pissed, man.
So those 2 years when Steve Nash won MVP, you voted for him instead of me?
Yep.
Do you remember What's it? Frank Caliendo? He would do Shaq.
Yeah.
He would do Shaq impressions.
Well, Ari Spears did the best one because he actually did the cross-eyed. He did the cross-eyed thing.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I mean Caliendo did one too. Caliendo did a great Barkley. Caliendo's Barkley.
Yeah, I was going to say he did a good Barkley too.
I don't hear much from Caliendo these days. I don't know what's.
Yes, Mal. No.
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
When McShay left ESPN.
Todd.
Yeah.
Todd.
That was one.
Paul.
That was one impression I didn't know I needed until he did it, and I was like,
it was so good,
it was fantastic. Yeah. There's a guy on Pat McAfee's show who does Mad Mel Kiper, and he's pretty good. He's a Packers fan. This guy on McAfee's show. So they did a live watch along on the draft the year that Jordan Love got drafted in the first round. So him as Mad Mel went off, just threw like this, the biggest hissy fit of hissy fits, like just cussing up a storm as Mad Mel. It was hilarious. Danny Wolf is going to be a Brooklyn Net, apparently. Danny Wolf's in sheep's clothing, I guess, or a wolf in Nets clothing.
My grandma, you're just a wolf in cheap clothing. That's from a Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's it's like a Red Riding Hood thing. And
I remember.
In the clothes, and he's like, "My grandma, you're just a wolf in cheap clothing."
They don't make so. On Max, which will now be renamed back to HBO Max here next month, I think. I set my, you can set an avatar, and I set it to Bugs Bunny. And then, like a month later, I found out that Max sold all the Warner Brothers, or they took all the Warner Brothers cartoons off the service for some reason. But I still have my avatar as Bugs Bunny, so I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
I will say they don't include all of the cartoons on there because I think there's some censorship going on. Even when they had them up, there was like there's some material missing here that I remember watching as a child.
Loved Bugs Bunny cartoons growing up. That was. This Danny Wolf kid's got some.
I like how Bill says he's not an elite NBA athlete. I could tell you that just by looking at this kid.
We know what you mean, Jay. We know what you mean. Next thing you're going to do is going to call him cerebral or something.
He's a real gym rat.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we got 3 picks left.
Yep.
Yeah. We got the Celtics. Favorite Celtic of all time?
Also Courtney Lee.
Arnold. Jesus Christ.
Tony Allen.
Courtney. Yeah, I'd probably go James Posey. I mentioned him earlier.
Not Buster Posey.
Not Buster Posey, no. Although I didn't mind Buster Posey when he played for the Giants. Mom's excited.
Very excited.
Well, he's off the payroll now, so that's probably why she's excited. She's on the payroll. She's on the payroll now.
The roles have flipped now.
How the turntables.
My wife and I use that phrase all the time.
It's great. It's one of Carell's best.
How the turntables.
So I was listening to a podcast today. They were talking about Anchorman. And they were talking about Carell's performance in Anchorman. And they brought up, they're like, wasn't The Office on the year, and it wasn't. Like Anchorman came out in 04 and The Office started 05. So like he went straight from Anchorman to
loud noises.
Yeah. And then when was 40-Year-Old Virgin? When was that? Was like that was during The Office. That was during The Office. Yeah.
7 or something.
That was during the Office years. Who's this dude? Hope it's his brother. Maybe it's the guy who didn't get picked.
Hugo Gonzalez.
He's not from France, right?
No, he is from Spain. He is from Spain. I'm Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Prepare to die. I mentioned Conan O'Brien Must Go, his travel show on Max. He went to Spain this past season. And he hung out with Javier Bardem.
Kitty Bardem doors.
That too. Have you seen, I think we've talked about that. You've seen No Country for Old Men, right?
Oh, yeah. We actually fairly recently rewatched that movie.
Yeah. Did you read the book?
No. Cormac McCarthy, right?
Yeah. I didn't either. I just he's had a couple books that got turned into movie. I did watch the Road. It's another one of his books that got turned into a movie. That one's bleak. I don't know. Country for Old Men. It's kind of bleak, but like, let's see here. Cormac McCarthy. Oh, he passed away 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Cormac McCarthy. Let's see. He's got.
So the guy crying was his brother.
Oh, was it? Okay. That's what I thought. That's what I presumed. Oh, I know what it was. He wrote a book called The Counselor. I don't know if it's a book, but he wrote the script. It was a movie that Ridley Scott ended up directed, and it is bat crap crazy, man. But like in the best way. It's another stars our guy Fassbender. Javier Bardem is in it. We just mentioned him, but Brad Pitt's in it. Like it's a Ridley Scott directed movie. It's about Mexican cartels and all that fun stuff. So if you can watch it, I would. If you can check it out. Now I wouldn't. I'd put the kids to bed before you watch.
This isn't a line of fire situation.
No, please, yeah. Well, it would be if you let your kids watch it.
So my wife has been teaching. They've been learning about the atom bomb.
Okay.
And so they're the social studies kind of in World War II and what happened there. And so I told her, I was like, man, I wish we could watch Oppenheimer together with her.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes in there you might want to.
Yeah, how do I cut out the
the nudity?
What's her name?
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh scenes. If I could just cut out the Florence Pugh scenes, I'm probably fine.
There was this. I remember when that movie came out. There was this lady on, I think it was Reddit, who had this long post about how she and her husband had to walk out of Oppenheimer because of the nude scenes, and her husband's apparently addicted to porn or something like that. So it was this whole thing. It was like putting all her business out in the street. It was like, lady, just say you didn't.
I hope she's using a burner Reddit account.
I mean, but it was just one of these weird ma'am. It was definitely a ma'am. This is a Wendy's type situation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the weirdest part, that movie's great, but when it
takes a while. It takes a while to get going. But yeah, once.
See, I never felt like that. I felt like it went like that.
Really?
But the one thing is like when he says, "I am become death, destroyer of worlds," like she's got the Sanskrit book open on the bed, and I'm like, okay, this is Mr. Nolan, this is a little over the top.
Sir.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
I thought the last hour of that movie was phenomenal. Like it's like from like basically leading up to once they get to the desert, they get to like the whatever they call it,
Los Alamos.
Yeah, once they get there and like they start, like then it really, yeah, they really kind of pick. And then like now I should point out I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it at home, but even at home, like on my TV, like you could tell like the Trinity test scene is like, holy crap.
So do you remember Brian Robinson? You know, the running back
for the
Washington. Commanders. Yeah.
So
you know how he has like he's the one who kind of introduced the giant hat things.
Yeah.
So somebody posted like earlier this year. It was like Elon Musk, and he had it was one of those giant hats, but it said "Make America Great Again."
Okay.
And somebody quote tweeted that, and he said, "Do you think Brian Robinson feels like Oppenheimer?"
Or no, Brian Robinson right now, and it's just a picture of Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer, like at the end of the movie. With what? My God, what have I done? That's pretty good.
That was a really good movie. I love that movie.
It's really good. It's still not my favorite. My favorite Nolan is still Memento, but I mean,
well, Nolan's got so many good ones. Like,
yeah, I was saying I need to rewatch.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, really?
McNeely. Close.
He has a very particular set of skills.
Guarding, 3-point shooting.
I've never seen a person look more like a Liam McNeely in my life.
Oh, he 100% looks like that.
Family's happy. I saw Coach Hurley was there. Danny.
He wasn't cursing at anybody now, was he?
Not in the shot I saw, but you know.
He does like to do that.
He played 2 years at Mount Verdi with Cooper Flagg.
For those of you who don't hablo español, that's Spanish for Mount Green. Spanish for the Nino. All right, last pick of the draft. Or the first round.
I would quote Anchorman, but it's not appropriate, so I'm gonna leave it alone. San Diego.
It's German.
Yeah, it is. All right, so the last pick. Here's a team we haven't heard from yet: the Clippers. Yeah. You have a favorite Clipper? How about Loy Vaught? Remember Loy Vaught?
I thought you were going to say Lloyd Braun.
Yeah, him too. I just, for some reason, when I started doing Immaculate Grids and Clippers came up, the first name that popped in my head was Loy Vaught. For whatever, I don't know why. And this guy played for the Clippers like 30 years ago. Like I don't know where it came from, but I remember when I first started paying attention to the NBA, the first big trade was the Hawks and the Clippers. Hawks traded Dominique Wilkins to the Clippers for Danny Manning. That was no
relation to Arch Manning.
No. To any of the Mannings for that matter. Oh, there you go. 4 Mount Verde Academy first-round picks here.
I'm trying to think of I'm gonna look up Clippers now.
Well, I mean, you got Kawhi Leonard, you got James Harden. That's a Clipper legend. Westbrook played for the Clippers, right?
That's true.
Once upon a time.
What about Swin Nader?
Nah, don't know him.
It's the
not familiar.
Top 12 players. I'm looking at them.
Not familiar with this.
What about Corey Maggette?
Corey Maggette, yeah.
Maggette, that's right.
Maggette.
No, it's Dave Maggette. I was thinking of Dave Maggette.
Yeah.
Corey Maggette.
Yeah, you're right.
There's Loy Vaught.
How about Chris Kaman? Remember Chris Kaman?
Ivica Zubac.
God bless you.
Randy Smith.
I love that you followed Ivica Zubac with Randy Smith.
I'm looking at the
No, I get it, but it's like
Elton Brand.
Oh yeah. Duke legend, Elton Brand, yeah.
Sixer legend. I think of Elton Brand more as I feel like I think of him more as a Sixer.
A Sixer than yeah, that's good. Good call.
Kind of split. I guess he actually spent more time as a Clipper than a Sixer, though.
I was going to say, is it weird that I think of him more as a Clipper?
I can see, but I think those are they're both kind of
Ron Harper. We talked about Ron Harper earlier. He was a Clipper. Mark Jackson. Oh, man. Mark Jackson was one of my favorite players. Commentary, not so much.
I am for real.
How about Bo Outlaw? How about Stanley Roberts?
His legal name is Bo Outlaw?
I think his government name is Charles, but he went by Bo.
But his last name is Outlaw.
His Outlaw, yeah.
How do you get that last name?
Your father's last name is Outlaw. I don't know.
That's a cool
come from a long line of outlaws.
So one of my daughters, her friends, their last name is Blades, and so her mom. So I told her I was like, your name sounds like you're a Mortal Kombat character.
Did they name all the kids like B names? Like
they did not.
That's a shame.
Could have been Sonya Blades, like the actual Mortal Kombat character.
All right, so the Clippers are going to close out the first round here. For those interested, the first pick of the second round will be made by the Minnesota Timberwolves, but that'll be tomorrow night. How do you feel about the 2-night draft?
I kind of like it because I feel like the draft has always been too long for the NBA. I mean, we're still going. It's still 10:30 already here. So,
yeah, this is 3.5 hours we've been going. So, yeah, and the Mavericks have Cooper Flagg now. So that's cool.
They've got the white flag.
There's a white flag. They also have Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie won't be healthy next year, but Anthony Davis probably won't be healthy.
Speaking of Anthony Davis, also.
So it's going to be
Didn't
Cooper
he,
Flagg.
Get to the Mavericks and immediately get hurt?
Yeah. He had 30. He scored 30 points and got hurt in the fourth quarter or something like that. First game.
That is extremely Anthony Davis. That's a signature Anthony Davis game right there. Dominate and then get injured.
Yeah. Clipper. I don't know. I guess the Clippers are taking their time here.
Are they taking their time, or is ESPN taking their time?
By the way, I think we missed this, but Brooklyn drafted a guard from Israel.
He did.
So do with that what you will.
Don't let him near. Don't let him near the Russian and the. Well, given who New York just elected as their Democratic,
Yeah, well,
it might be difficult for him to get in the stadium. Whoa, Yannick Conan Niederhauser, what a name!
Excuse me? From Penn State.
Penn State.
Okay, now
Is
Conan
Conan Niederhauser going to be all across the back? Because that might be longer than Wembanyama.
You're going to need a bigger jersey. Okay, who? Can you tell me the last basketball player from Penn State?
Micah Parsons.
Basketball. Did he play basketball at Penn State?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I was like, shoot. Come on, I just need. Wait, did Frank Kaminsky? No, he was from
Frank
Wisconsin.
Played at Wisconsin, yeah.
Wisconsin. I'm just trying to find.
Oh, he's from Switzerland.
The Swiss. My favorite Switzerland joke was Robin Williams on his stand-up special back in the day. He said, the Swiss are the country that sits there and goes, what was that noise?
There was a player, from Penn State named Frank Brickowski. I don't think I don't think you wanted him anywhere near your basketball.
He's a good rebounder. From what I hear. So John Amici. I know John Amici. I remember that name.
Mark Stevens, former Grizzly.
There you go. What about the WNBA? Anybody for the WNBA?
Seth Lundy, Jalen Pickett, and Lamar Stevens.
Yeah, I mean WNBA. Alex Bentley. Oh. So, all that to say, boys and girls, Penn State not known for their NBA players.
Speaking of names that
Calvin Booth. I remember Calvin Booth.
Yeah. So speaking of players whose last names don't fit very well for their professional sports career, the Rangers were facing off against a pitcher whose last name was Blewett today.
I remember a pitcher years ago was named Putz. JJ Putz.
Yep. There was also a pitcher whose last name was Bastardo.
Yeah, remember that? All right, looks like they're closing out here, wrapping it up. Remind me, who did the Grizzlies draft?
We got.
Do you remember?
Mr. Coward.
That's right.
He was kind of the name that I had seen mocked to them a lot too. So not really a surprise there.
And the Mavericks ended up with Cooper Flagg, obviously. Have the Knicks hired a coach yet? No, right?
They keep getting turned down.
My favorite tweets for a while were like, the Knicks have reached out to Coach Carter and got turned down. Yeah. I mean, I don't. When I first heard the news, I was like, I kind of get it, because like Thibodeau, as great of a coach Thibodeau is, he kind of has one speed, like he has one trick.
You're playing 40 minutes a night,
right?
Regardless of what the game looks like and where we are in the season,
he's not going to adjust. Like he's going to do his thing, and that's either my way or the highway type deal. There were rumors that like they could try to trade for Kidd, but the Mavericks shut that down. I mean, if I was Kidd and after you just traded Luka, I don't know if I'd want to. But now with Flagg, maybe they
Yeah, they already had the number one pick at that point. So.
Oh wow! First 8 picks in the draft were all freshmen.
Not surprised.
It's a record. It's an NBA draft record. Duke becomes the third team. One school to have the third time one school has had 3 top 10 picks. There you go. Rutgers had 2 top 5 picks, as we mentioned.
Yeah, and
they had zero. They had 0 top 5 picks in the modern draft era before tonight.
Let's see how that works out for everybody.
So, but yeah, because we were looking through the record, we were scrounging trying to find somebody who played for Rutgers. Yeah, I guess Duke still best basketball school in the country.
I guess so.
I mean, well, so. Any other anything else we want to discuss before we sign off?
I think that's it for this week. Another good live show.
Another good live show. Yeah, hope everybody. I don't know if we had anybody join us, but hopefully you're listening to this. You and I had a good time, Brandon.
We did.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. We'll have it up on the podcast feed soon.
We'll have it up there soon. Obviously, it'll be here on YouTube. Next week, we'll figure something out. We'll do something. We'll be getting ready for July 4th next week.
That's right. Next Friday.
A week from Friday. Maybe we can do a I feel like we need to do something baseball related for July 4th. We'll figure it out.
We'll see.
All right. Happy football, everyone. Happy NBA draft.
Happy basketball.
Happy basketball.